I'll tell you.
But by the way, let me just go through the results.
Yeah, go through the results, and I'll tell you something.
The ultimate winner, Gakpe, who is the incumbent,
Yes, the incumbent. Yeah.
won with 486 votes. In second place was Kwesi Senanu Jokoto,
Yes.
who came in with 329.
Yes.
Kojo Jones, the wedding celebrity, comes in third with 265. So he was third. I mean, there were 5 candidates in all. He came in third with 265 votes. The guy after him, who was fourth place, at 20. The fifth guy had 0. So he was third.
No, he did well. But you see, this is the point I was going to tell you. So you see, Kojo Jones. Now, when I asked the first question, see, who is Kojo Jones? I mentioned his father's name. Then he got to know him. He's a stepson of David Lamte. Okay? David Lamte's stepson.
Same David Lamte whose daughter ran Koloklote.
Oh, yes. And I tell you one thing. In a lot of the conversations, listen carefully. A lot of people referenced him as David Lamte's stepson. So, I mean, so more of the focus more on him was not even sometimes his name, Kojo Jones, but an association with David Lamte. So if that is your claim to celebrity status or claim to fame, I'm sorry, you're going down. Because politically, if you go to the Keta constituency and they say, okay, so this is Justice Kojo Jones' son. Okay, but what has he done? Mind you, Jokoto was constituency chairman. Jokoto, many believed, lost in the 2019 primaries because of his association. He's Rollins' boy. And in fact, at the time Rollins went there, trying to help him do a few things. In the build-up to this election, the belief for many people was that Jokoto was actually going to win.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so they believed that Jokoto was going to win. And so the discussions were that, okay, how about we allow Jokoto? And I was having a conversation with some of the guys in Keta, and they were telling me that, well, at the final moment, the way things were going, the people felt that let's give Gakpe another chance to go. And so, again, Jokoto was unsuccessful. But my point simply is that, he went to marry, he did a nice wedding, we talked about it. At every instance, there were videos to show. Yeah, but that was it for me, really. That's the end of it.
But I need to ask the question, and then Inusa could help me out here. Generally in politics, when somebody comes into politics with a very popular reputation, he's very famous and has reputation in coming in, how do people receive him? I mean, people within the party, for example. Because there's some suggestions that sometimes the popularity becomes an attraction for the parties themselves. They think that because a person had a certain reputation and is popular, people go and then party will go and solicit.
So Evans, if you decide tomorrow to join the NDC and contest on the ticket of the NDC, will you be encouraged?
Okay.
Because they've seen your work over the years. Okay. I mean, clearly, so to what use can they put you?
Okay.
As a communication department, we can use you. Have you ever wondered why Kojo Nkrumah got it so easily within the, we don't, not all celebrities get that attention.
You're right.
Now, there are some people whose status is a nuisance to political parties. Because you see, political parties are supposed to be prudent. You must be thinking of the larger picture. You must be demonstrating how to use your resources efficiently and, have empathy for people, okay? Now, if you go around flaunting your wealth,
but
you clearly are not going to attract any attention. They think that it's filthy.
But you're right. Within the culture, tell me about you. You stay in the Volta region. How do Voltarians react to affluence? Because I'm curious, because it may have hurt him. Because from all the videos we played and seen, this was somebody who was clearly flaunting it.
Yeah.
How do Voltarians react to that?
They're okay with it.
They're okay with it?
No, they're okay with it. Look, I've seen a lot of wealth.
You ask questions, but...
No, of course.
You ask questions.
No, of course, but they need to know what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You just don't return overnight with wealth.
You
need to show that this is how you became wealthy. I mean, I used to live, when I was in Ho, I lived behind one of the houses that belonged to the owner of MF Estate Forest.
Yeah.
Mr. Akpebu, we used to call him. MF Estate, whose house was behind our house. He was a very wealthy man. He was in Accra. He would come once in a while. Everybody knew him. There were others who had built hotels, they'd built facilities. Everybody knows Dr. Lecha, he owns Sky Hotel. Everybody, Sky Plus, everybody knows him. I mean, everybody knows the owner of First Sky, Walter Serene. They know what he does. And nobody's against him because they know that this is a man who's worked for it. Okay, so that's it. You have to show that. People say, show working. This is what you do. And this is what, why you are the sort of person that you are. Okay, so you just don't show up. Right? I don't think that, people voted against him because of, a show. I'm told he's the CEO of Empire Concrete, and there's a construction wing of Sidarco Company. So, look, I think that if you're going into a constituency, the constituency must really know you. Sometimes we get carried away. I believe that this is just a man introducing himself to a constituency. I know Yunus Hussaini would disagree with me, but because going into that constituency, when I did all my checks, for instance, because one of my very good friends had come to me that he wanted to contest in that constituency, I told him, you're going to lose this election. There's no way you will win. He says, I've done. I say, all the things that you've done, you will lose. So you have to make a choice, make a decision as to whether you're going to go or not. It was between Jokoto and Gakpe, and they came first and second. Yeah. Okay, he has a good showing. If he comes back again in 2027, 2028, who knows? He could win.
Many of these guys don't have strategy. If I were Jones, I won't go into Kita constituency now in the manner that I went in. You start nurturing, investing, associating with an MP or one of the politicians, showing interest, even in politics. I've never heard him make a political statement.
You're right. In fact, I was going to make that point.
Yeah.
I've not seen him take a hit, defending the party. And the contrast is...
Even attending party.
Yes, I think
Sadiq was very vocal to defend the party on issues, even when it was unpopular.
Yeah. So that's how you started. Then people will get to talk about you. They will recommend you. They will invite you like they've invited you, Winston, to come and contest. Yeah. Because they have opportunity to assess you and see whether you can really represent them. They are afraid that they can give the mandate to you and you simply treat them with contempt.
That's an important point. That's a very important. So that's a celebrity conversation, and many times you see celebrities jumping into politics.
You've not spoken about my Della Goodhart.
Where was she contesting?
Angolan constituency.
What happened to her?
She lost.
Oh, that's another known face.
Another known face. Nyong Zaze. Della Goodhart.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Della Goodhart. Yeah, she contested. She did got about 100 and something votes. Yeah, so did well, but she did this whole appeal for funds and all of that. People should contribute towards her campaign and everything. She didn't win. Also, I think she also would have known that she wasn't going to win that election.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the NDC in terms of people who had almost celebrity status and tried to contest. Jokoto, that man who does the bandidi.
Oh, Kwame Jokoto.
Kwame Jokoto.
Yeah, Kwame Jokoto.
It never worked out for him.
Yeah. No, it didn't work out for him.
It never worked out for him.
In fact, he lost one of the widest margins.
Yeah, exactly.
And he lost by some.
And many thought he stood a better chance because he was the kind of thing he was doing. People resonated with the masses, right? And yet,
but that election. Mrekuduka is a very smart. He's a very smart politician.
Yeah.
He actually, there was a time that...
that's the place they counted the thing like 10 times.
Oh, no, that was in 2020. That they counted it like, some say they counted it like 4 or 5 times. But he said they counted it once and he won. But, and this was in 2016. He actually went to Kwame Jokoto's mother, who is a queen mother, and held discussions with her, according to Kwame Jokoto's mother, about peace and everything. And in the course of the thing, gave her a Mrekuduka t-shirt, and she wore it. They took a picture. And he circulated it.
Even your mother endorses me. That's a strategy. That's nice. Listen, we were talking earlier about Roxing Nelson Dafiame. Yes. He won it.
Yes.
363 votes to Prosper Fusu's 286. So that's a handsome win there for him.
Yeah, it is. It was one of the persons who had. Now you spoke.
And this is Saudai.
Saudai. You actually spoke to him on PMS.
Yes.
And at the point he talked about how.
The gay lobbies were trying to.
A spin was put on that to say that he said gay guys had descended on his community. The guys were doing a lot of things. So, he went into this election with a lot of pressure, and it was a close contest. I met him on I think 1st May, the Old Mali Students Union were having a program. He was there. So I asked him, how's it going? He said, well, it was difficult, but he was very sure that he was going to win. He's going to run for his money. But, you know, again, he's one of the persons that nationally engages in a very good discourse.
Yeah,
so
sure.
You want him to come back to Parliament. And
Yeah.
there's that kind of conversation. We have these conversations, but the reality is that at the end of it all, it's based on your constituents. While nationally we may enjoy your discourse on our laws and everything and all the debates in Parliament, we don't get to vote for you. Your constituents get to vote for you, so you might as well do what they like.
Yeah, sure. So like I've said, I've given interviews to say that, look, I support all the 137 minus 136 MPs, and I wanted constituents to retain them because it's important to have experience in Parliament. I mean, a one-time MP, I mean, you get dislocated. When you leave Parliament, it's difficult for you to find a job. I mean, you are politically tainted.
Yeah.
I mean, unless a private person who knows you very well, you are going to have it difficult to re-enter the public sector. And so unless your party again wins so that they can consider you and give you some position within the public sector or within government.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought that we should encourage the constituents to retain their MPs. But Winston, like you said, I mean, it is the constituents who determine who they want to represent them in Parliament.
You know what? I want to spend some time analyzing that because of the number of incumbents who have lost tonight. And not only you, in fact, Haruna was on my show the night before he was removed and actually was advocating that some of the incumbents should be protected. But I want to, because we're talking about Roxanne Del-Sadafia-Mekbo, I want to, have a conversation. We should go to the EC headquarters now and come back for that conversation. Hello, Mefa Pau. I can see from the screens that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission herself had been to the engine room today, and the conversations are far advanced. What's the latest in terms of how close we are to knowing the final results for the presidential?
Jean Mensah herself, she came in earlier before the other two commissioners joined her to be briefed on exactly where we are in terms of the election by Dr. Srebo Okweku. So as you see them, they are still deliberating on the results that have come in so far. But where we are now, we are 188. It just turned, just when I turned around to look at it, we have 188 out of 277. So we have 89 more to go. Bongo is the latest that just came in, and that's in the Upper East region. We have John Mahama, 1,116. We have Kojobunsu, 6. We have the total valid vote cast, 1,122. We have rejected votes of 5. And Pusiga has just come in. Aguna West has just come in. So we are 190. Aguna West and Pusiga are the latest that have just joined. And we have JDM total vote now at 197,954. 197,954. We have Kojobuntu at 2,230. So the total votes that we have, 201,060. And it's just turned to 191. Talency. Now, at this point, it appears that the results are just coming in thick and fast. I don't know if with the presence of the commissioners that is making a move so fast, but this is where we are, 191. 85 more. So Boku Central just came in, making it 192. Boku Central. Nabdam has just also come in. We have 193. I think when you put us on, the results move fast. So Evans, this is where we are, 193 out of 277. 84 more to go. Nabdam is the latest. Nabdam had John Dramani Mahama, 482. We have total votes. Kojobunsu had 0. Kwabnadu for 0, 482. That's the number of votes at Nabdam. So we are at 193. And the Electoral Commissioner is still here with her commissioners and still interacting with the EC officials. You have Dr. Srebo Okweku himself now moving and making sure that the results are moving fast. The 10 p.m. deadline that we've been giving does not look like we are able to meet it. Asin South has just come in also from the central region. Asin South is the latest, 996 for John Dramani Mahama, Kojobunsu 10. Total votes, valid votes, 1,006. Rejected votes, 43. So all total votes cast is 1,049. So that's where we are, 194. We are inching closer and closer, even though it's not at the pace that we're hoping to get it. So Evans, this is where we are, so that we can get to Roxanne Nelson Dapamako, and then we'll come back here to the Electoral Commission strong room. Then we can all move to the NDC headquarters for the final declaration and the results as well.
I want to now go now to Setra Dumase in Ashanti region, Setra Dumase in Ashanti region, where one of the aspirants had stormed the voting premises there and sprayed cash. He didn't only do it once, a number of times. That's what you see on the screens there, and had generated a lot of controversy. Even while voting was happening, she was out there sharing money, throwing it, as you just seen there. In some cases, actually, also giving out mumu, and everybody else benefited, so to speak. What's the story there? Did she win? Did she lose? Nana Boachi Yadom is our correspondent on the beat for us. Nana, give us the story.
Just not long ago, the EC officials declared the results for Edra Odumase constituency, where the current member of parliament, the Honorable Bawa Ryman, won the election with 684 votes against his opponent. And the lady seen in the viral video sharing of blowing cards to delegates, Julia Wakam, who also had 216 votes. So you can see the gap of the margin is quite wide. Also, the presidential race, John Dramani Mahama, the NDC candidate, also pulled 100,419 votes against Kojo Bonsu, who also pulled 17 votes, with Dr. Budupo also having nothing. So at the moment, you can see supporters and some delegates jubilation following the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Setra constituency, Honorable Bawa. It's a moment of joy here at the Ahmadiyya School Park at Setra Odumase Ezra. And Lady Juliana, who was seen in the viral video, blowing cards to the delegates and in some instances, serving momo to them. And there's nowhere to be found. In fact, he left the election ground at exactly 7:30 when the EC closed the polls. And she's yet to arrive, and we are yet to even get to see. We are yet to see any of her agents or her manager here, because earlier on, her manager spoke to me and to clarify the matter of blowing of cards to the delegates. So we are yet to speak with Juliana and any of her agents or manager. But I can confirm to you the EC has declared Honorable Bawa Brahma as the NDC parliamentary candidate for Edra Odumase constituency. It's happening last year at the Ahmadiyya School Park. So even to be asked, this is the situation here at Edra.
Thank you very much. And so that's the result. And Mr. Fusini, I need to bring you. You are a lawyer, but you're also a politician. I must say, I have never seen anything like this before. There are always rumors, and money's exchanging hands. Everybody does it, quietly. We know it happens. It exists. It's like you can't win elections in Ghana without trying to exchange some few cash. But to do it the way she's done it, drive to the polling station and pick the money and just throw it in the air for people to just scramble over. Come back, do more, and share more in the full glare. No inhibition whatsoever. No attempt to even hide it. That I haven't seen before.
It appears to me that the lady is under the influence of something. Because you don't conduct elections this way.
Absolutely not.
Not even in Nigeria, where there's a lot of cash in the system. Or she mistook what we're doing in the primaries as a social gathering or something. I really,
a funeral or a wedding ceremony, a naming ceremony or whatever.
I simply cannot understand And you know, Evans, we have been working on this thing about
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah,
monetization of politics.
Campaign financing.
Now, if you campaign financing, if you spend money this way, I mean, not targeted in any way.
Not at all.
You have no way of knowing whether those people milling around here are delegates at all.
Yeah.
If I was going to come to that, you know, that you may have people who show up there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, because I'd be surprised if delegates would do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and I say it's disrespectful. Yeah. Because if you go, and look, Honorable is a politician, he will tell you, the politician will tell you, that's why when you see politicians, they have a lot of envelopes. Yeah? Because sometimes it's even demeaning to give somebody money, and then you show the money, put it in an envelope, and give it to the person. So if you do this, you're disrespecting your people. And so, you know, I said, yeah, I'll be surprised if she wins the election.
Yeah, but she lost significantly.
Yes. Yeah, because it's demeaning, it's disrespectful. You don't go to people, spray money, and expect them to be, you know, picking money from the floor and all of that. Oh, my goodness. I know there's special prosecutors who they are.
No, so you said this is cheating. So this is
This
is illegal.
Illegal.
Yes. Don't invite her. She'll be invited. She'll be invited shortly.
Because I remember there was an NDC aspirant in one of the internal elections who, after he had given the money, then went to demand it. Do you remember?
Oh, it's actually the DC aspirant.
NDC aspirant, yes.
In Drabbing thereabouts. He went and he should give him back his money.
Yes.
He's been invited by the special prosecutor. I'm sure this woman is going to be invited.
Yeah. And in that case, the special prosecutor stepped in.
Yeah.
He invited him for investigations,
Yes.
etc. But Inusa, shouldn't the party take a strong view of this?
Really, I think that the party will look at it. Because you can't conduct yourself this way. I mean, what was she trying to show? That she has money?
Yeah.
Or what? What was it about?
And you know, the explanation, she just found there was money in her car. She decided to spray it.
No. Even Chetawale doesn't spray money this way.
And she didn't come once, you know, so this is very deliberate. After this, from what our reporter says, came back again after the polls had ended to try and do even more, right? I mean, so the state institutions, special prosecutors, even the party, we see what the party will do about this.
You know the saying, a night serves as a cover for evildoers. Night. When politicians want to share money during elections, they don't share it in the open. You don't go spraying money all over. If you want to share money during political exercises, they have their campaign team members tasked to do that. You won't even find a member of parliament himself or aspirant himself sharing money.
And then also in the Domiabro parliamentary primaries, another aspirant there brought in rice. So that's you on your screen there. So he packed the rice in the truck, and he put his banner on it. When you vote and you are exiting, so he did an exit poll, but this exit poll is rewarded with rice. So when you vote, you are exiting, then he gives you a bag of rice and you take along, and openly that's it in the open. And this is another one, and that's him. He's there. He's with his poster. Richard Ni Ayi, Domia Brelbom, parliamentary aspirant. By the way, guess what happened? He lost. He lost. I want to go through the results there. Richard Ni Ayi came in third with 184 votes. Isaac Ewuku Iyebo wins that with 463. In second is something Ni Anumtaki with 283. So this Richard Ayi guy, who we've just been seeing, that's him there with the rice in the truck, right at the polling station, sharing it, and from our reporter who was on the ground, when you finish voting and you come and he gives you
How does he know you voted for him?
Well, I mean, whatever, he was rewarding what he believed.
The intention is to influence the voters to cast their vote for him. That's what makes it threatening.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then deliberately packing it there and exhibiting it.
Yeah, showing you that this is it.
Yeah, so that you've talked to them already, I presume. So go cast for me, and then there'll be an exit reward for you. The delegates punished him, but we need to applaud the delegates. In these two instances, Inusa, they took the money, they took the rice, and they voted massively against them.
Yeah.
I wonder what you say about that.
No, delegates always know the one they want to represent. I in all my years in Parliament, I always faced stiff competition in Tema Central. At one election, it was even said in Accra here that I had lost. Okay? But the delegates always told me anytime I went to them, that look, they've assessed all the people. At one point, one delegate, my contest with the employee of Ghana, Minister of Roads and Highways, one engineer who was there, who contested me. One day I went for a meeting with delegates, and one very senior person got up and said, look, probably this person thinks we are fools. We have got a sitting minister of roads and highways, and you are coming to tell us to remove that sitting minister and put you there when we are not even sure that if NDC wins the elections, you will be made a minister at all. Okay, so, if we do that and we meet our counterparts in other constituencies and they ask us why we have done that, how are we going to explain?
Yeah.
So the delegates always know the person they want. So if we go, that's why I believe in these things, in this work that we are doing. That's why I believe that people are actually assessed on their capacity to deliver.
The delegates make that decision. So the money doesn't influence
them.
Are you sure?
No, not that much.
So why do people spend all that money then on delegates?
So you see, someone was telling me before I came in here that some constituencies knew that Dr. Dufour had withdrawn.
Yeah.
But they believed in Dr. Dufour. They took some
of course.
from Dr. Dufour. But they would not vote for Mahama because they've taken something from Dr. Dufour. They know he can't do the work. But since they've taken something from him, they think that they must show appreciation. So they go and vote for him or spoil the ballot. Now, I think that what delegates do, which sometimes gives the impression that money is actually influencing them, is that because people, they take money, and we are deeply moral in this country, deeply, because they take money from those people, they think that if they vote against the people, they'll be committing a sin of assault.
After taking the money.
So they vote, come out, and regret.
But that clearly, and as we've been talking about what should happen with this very blatant treating, as you've called it, a good friend of mine at CD has sent a note that because this is not a public election, the SP cannot get involved. In the case of the DC, because that is a public election, and that's one SP. What do you think about that?
Well, you might have a point. But if SP cannot get involved, can't the Internal Revenue Authority, Ghana Revenue Authority get involved?
It can, of course.
Yeah, because we need to know where she got the money from.
Of course, and the Ghana Revenue Authority are doing a great job these days. If they, when a pastor gave the daughter a check of $1 million, they wrote to them and said, "Oh, come and pay tax." A few questions. Yeah. It was there the pastor said that was faith money. Yeah. It was a faith check. So it was just sowing a seed in the daughter's life. So they're doing great things. If they see don't worry, the Ghana Revenue Authority, they have huge targets. That, they're struggling to meet. So look out for them, just to ensure that, you pay the appropriate taxes. But it's important we get, this woman, well, let's look for the appropriate laws.
Yeah, I think I believe the party must take the first step. Yeah. Because the party now can sanction this and make it an example. You don't do this. It drags the party's name into disrepute. Yeah. And there's a clause in the party's constitution that deals with that. This clearly does that. Now everybody's going to use that as an example. When CDD is doing the analysis, we are doing analysis. This is an example of how an NDC election, is another aspect of today's polls that I want us to examine is what has happened to the sponsors of the anti-gay bill. So far, 3 of them have won their elections, and they won it handsomely. Sam George in Ningo Pram Pram. I'm raising this because they themselves had said prior to the elections that the gay lobby had become very active in their constituencies trying to unseat them. Roxanne Nasdaq said that to me on PM Express. Sam George himself has said that it's an issue. Sam George won in the Go Pram Pram, and many of you joined and wondering what happened to Sam George. He won handsomely in his constituency, 1,036 votes. And the other contender only managed to get 626 votes. Now you go to Saudai. Roxy Nelson Dafiamepo was another sponsor of this particular bill. He also won handsomely, 386. The next individual, the only person contended, Prosper, got 286 votes. So twice as many votes, almost. They go to Ho West, Emmanuel Bejra, another sponsor. He also won and won convincingly there. At least, so these three have won this. What does it say going into this, knowing the concerns that all of them had because of their activism in sponsoring the bill, promoting it, and we all know that all over the world, the gay lobby, they're very active in political campaigns. They sponsor their chosen candidates against people that they don't like. It's happened everywhere. Yeah. Now we're seeing these sponsors, and they were concerned. The fact that they've all won now, I don't know what you.
But the CDD has told you that majority of Ghanaians do not support these activities, and so if you have people who are championing, action against these activities, ordinarily they are going to win support. And let me be very honest here. Somebody like Bejra is a strong figure, very strong figure in the Ho West constituency. In fact, the last time we're having conversations about Ho West, the consensus was that unless Bejra says he's not going to contest, it'll be very difficult to unseat him. He's a smart politician. I mean, he's been there since 2008. Okay, he's been there since 2008. He's going to be there. And, even at a point in time, there was a group that was lobbying that John Mahama should consider him even as running mate. Yeah. Yes. So for Bejra, he's a very formidable candidate in the Ho West constituency. You go and challenge him at your own peril. You're going to lose. So we'll keep it at that way. Roxanne may have faced some competition. So I think he got 363 of the votes. He may have faced competition. And it was one of those where he actually felt it at a point. And at the time he was speaking to you on PM Express, he was feeling it. And the conversation in the constituency, right after he spoke with you, the spin was that he said that, there were gay people in his constituency trying to do this and that. And so he had to get a clarification that he didn't say that. He said a gay lobbyist and all of that. Sam George, and we talked about it this morning.
It was a central part of his campaign.
Yes, it was.
I mean, trying to sort of whip up sentiments that, listen, because of my activism on the anti-gay thing, I've become a target now. Maybe that clearly worked.
Because you'd have to now, you see, so there's a saying, Lawrence Rees has this quote that I like repeat. It says, feelings that are formed by emotions cannot be dislodged by mere reasoning. You have to appeal to the emotions of people. That's the whole idea in politics. Appeal to the emotions of people. And once you've appealed to their emotions, those feelings cannot be dislodged by mere reasoning. What point am I trying to make? Because of, we know the gay lobbyists and their resource power. So if they come into your constituency and want to unseat you, my goodness, when it comes to the money, it's going to be very difficult for you. So at that point in time, what do? You must then play the victim.
Exactly.
And get the people to appreciate that because of the fight for you, after all, you sent me there, you say you don't want this.
And the chances are overwhelming majority will be opposed, abhorred.
Yes.
By
Evans, I don't think that they ought to have complained.
Oh, okay.
Yes, because it's a decision, it's a choice. It's a private member's bill they introduce in Parliament. They know that the government will not send such a bill to Parliament. The gay lobbyists know that when these people are out of Parliament, that bill is dead, unless it's sponsored by. So they ought to have known that they'll be attacked in their constituencies. Okay. That's why you must own your convictions. Even if you fight and lose it, if you lose your seat, you know that you lost your seat fighting. Okay, I don't think that they ought to have complained. They knew that it will come. So, and that's why, initially there were many people, many MPs from the majority side who joined them. But all of them, under pressure from their party and the pressure from the lobbyists, went off. So for me, I don't really think that should be a problem. I think that in every constituency, the dynamics are different. Okay. Now, you can't openly support gayism in the northern part of Ghana, and particularly in the Tamale Central constituency, and hope to continue to be parliament. Now, but as a Sunni Muslim, I always face resistance from the Tijaniya. And they always supported people against me.
Oh, I see.
Yes. Yes. So the dynamics are the same everywhere. If you take a position, know that those who don't support that position
come for you.
Will come for you. Yeah. Because they want their own to be in parliament. Yeah. Okay? So this dynamics.
But let's expand this conversation. We'll be going to Asawasi very shortly because I understand Muntaka Mubarak may have stepped at the polling center now and maybe speaking, if I'm right. We'll go there shortly. Let's expand this now. Remember that this is a huge political subject, and possibly going to 2024, it may become a campaign issue. The churches have already said everybody who's the two main parties must declare their stance on this matter. Does the fact that the sponsors have won handsomely, NDC delegates, send a signal to the MPP, who many accuse of dilly-dallying on the matter, that, look, if you look within the NDC, the delegates are telling you that even if you have the gay guys, the gay lobby in your corner, we are opposed to this, and politically, we may punish you. How much of a signal should anybody...
Well, I don't think that as we sit today, this night, any political party, including Nana Akufo-Addo's government, will want to stick its head out to oppose the bill that is in Parliament.
What about the reverse? If you don't also be more aggressive in the condemnation and your actions to criminalizing it, some read into that to be you're too lenient and tolerant of it, and that too can be punished.
Well, all governments would have wished to walk a tightrope of leaving sleeping dogs to lie. Because inherently that matter appears, strictly speaking, to be a private matter. Matters done behind the confines of, behind our backs. So most governments would like this matter to just stay where it is. But it has been forced into the open by the bill. And I'm not sure that any government will make a definitive pronouncement supporting or condemning.
Can you afford to stay on the fence on this going into an election where the huge religious bodies, including the Muslim community and the Chief Imam, have all said, we want you to be categorical?
So interestingly, even not only in Ghana, all over in Africa, there's a big pushback on what is perceived as cultural imperialism. That people are saying that no, it's undemocratic, inherently undemocratic, to try to foist on us a culture that is not indigenous to the people of Africa.
Absolutely alien to us.
Absolutely alien. There's a pushback all over. I mean, and I think that what we need to watch is how this pushback will grow. Africans are trying to assert their position, their Africanness, and say, look, what you people are talking about is not about human rights. It's just saying that, well, even though a majority of us, or we Africans, do not accept that practice, you are saying that we, for economic reasons, must accept that practice. So there's a pushback. Everywhere there's a pushback. So for me, I do not see in the immediate future how any government can make a definitive pronouncement on this matter.
Well, I mean, if this becomes an election matter, an election campaign issue, I'm sure you know that all those who are contesting, because would actually rush to say, I don't support it. And if you listen to the conversations, really, you probably would have heard all the time the conversation, I don't support gay marriages. and that's a nice way of moving away from it. I don't support gay marriages. I don't support gay marriages. I don't support gay marriages.
But will you criminalize it?
Well, I mean, there's a bill in Parliament now. I mean, and like Honorable Minister Seni said, there's a private member's bill. Now, the government didn't bring it. You don't have, I mean, you have a choice not to assent to it, but you dare not make that mistake if you're a president. Your hands are tied, really. And so, look, you had the president's conversations with Kamala Harris. He talks about how it's in Parliament. It's a private member's bill. That's it. But also, as president, once it is passed, and the way they're pushing it, now that, the principles are, in front have been read and all of that, it will be considered. I'm sure in the next meeting it will be considered. Yes, it could be considered in this meeting because the following one will be a budget meeting, really. So if they consider it in this meeting and it's passed, the president has no choice than to assent to it. Even if he delays 1 month,
but
the consequence will be raised.
This week, in an interview with Kudu Jansen, the Attorney General made a point that currently there's still a provision in the bill. He's advised for it to be removed. It hasn't been. That still imposes financial obligations on the state, and he quotes the constitutional provision that says private members' motions cannot have financial implications on the state. And that particular clause, he says, has to do with the requirement in the bill now for government agencies to actively promote it. And he says, if that's a requirement, that will mean impose financial obligation. He says, if that clause is not taken out by Parliament in the process to pass and is passed, if it gets to the president's desk, he will have no choice than to advise the president to return it to Parliament, right?
Well, the committee actually agrees with the Attorney General. In the committee's report, they say they identify that could be a challenge, and an amendment will take care of it. I think the Attorney General, a friend, Godfred Dami, I mean, if you were to ask him today...
He's caught between the devil and the devil.
He would tell you, if you were to speak to him today, he probably would tell you that thing is making it look like he's against that, because in that interview he talks about how...
he supports many aspects of the bill.
Let me tell you one thing. That part is taken care of.
As in will be taken care of. But
the committee,
now, as it stands now, it hasn't been.
So the committee, Honorable will say,
the
committee will bring amendments. We'll take care of it. The committee admits. In fact, in the committee's report, they admit that. So that's in there.
Because you say that.
So you see...
Let me read the report to you. Let me read the committee's report to you.
I want to hear this.
So you see, when the president was speaking to Kamala Harris, that was just to placate her. But Kamala knows that when the bill is passed by Parliament, the president has limited opportunity to reject an assent. To reject to assent to the bill or refuse to assent to the bill. Because when he does, he must give reasons. He must state the areas that are of concern. If the bill comes back to Parliament and Parliament still insists that should be in the bill, the president has no choice but to assent to the bill. Because the power, the legislative power of Parliament cannot be overreached.
So let me just do this before we get back to elections. So preliminary concerns were expressed by some concerned Ghanaians, and same was expressed by the Attorney General and Minister for Justice in relation to aspects of the bill which appear to impose a charge on the consolidated fund. Let me fast forward this. It says, the committee noted that the following provisions in the bill are likely to impose a charge on the consolidated fund in contravention of Article 108 of the 1992 Constitution. The collective responsibility being placed on citizens, educational institutions, the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary to promote the values enshrined in the bill under Clause 3 of the bill, and the payment of medical assistance or therapy by an approved service provider under Subclause 6. It says, the committee wishes to indicate that the concerns of the Attorney General have been taken care of in the committee's proposed amendments.
Okay, so that will now be made effective once it goes forward.
So either the committee is saying that, well, we are going to propose an amendment to remove those provisions from the bill, or we are going to suggest other formulations that doesn't impose financial obligations.
Yeah.
So that clearly is an issue that we need to watch, and this primary provides us an opportunity, I guess, to assess the political implications going forward, depending on where you stand on the matter. This is a Sawasi you see in your shot there. It's live. There's a group that is jubilating. Let's bring in our report on the ground to give us context. Normally, when you see these scenes, one side knows they've won. So which side is this? that has been jubilating in
That's
Asawase.
tornado with the powder on the face.
So
Asawase tornado.
exactly. So Nana Yaojima, if you can hear us, give us some context. Is the counting over? Do we have some provisional results from Asawase? Okay, we'll get him to join us pretty shortly so we can give us results. We're waiting for Asawase very keenly. As for the presidential race, it's done and dusted. At the last count, I just want to share with you the results that we have. The last count from John Mahama. At the last count, John Mahama has 210,898 votes. 210,898 votes. Kojo Bonsu had 2,339 votes at the last count. And this is 202 out of 277 constituency results that are coming so far. So that we can declare that John Mahama is the presidential candidate elect.
Statistically impossible.
It is statistically impossible for Kojo Bonsu to achieve what is required to mount any significant challenge that would ensure that John Mahama doesn't eventually become the nominee. But he is tonight, and so that race is dead and buried. He's approaching 99%.
What's that? Of the votes, yeah.
99%
I'm
of the
trying
votes.
to do the math now.
99% of the votes. And so that is done and dusted already. So there's no issue there at all. We're going to go to Asawase pretty shortly because that's where we're waiting. That's one of the main areas to look at, to examine before we wrap up. Now, here's the thing, though. Before we wrap up, we want to do one last thing. I know many of you have joined us in wondering.
98.5%.
98.5%. And as we wait for more votes to come in, this might change. But we expect it to be in that range, 98, 99, by the time we wrap up. Now, tonight we've seen also some major casualties. Incumbent MPs who have lost their seat, who have lost their primaries, which means they will have no opportunity to go back to Parliament. Kwabena Donko has fallen. Prue East, former power minister, has fallen tonight. We have Edward Bauer, who is the incumbent member of Parliament for Bongo, has fallen tonight. ABA Fusedi, the man of Proverbs, has fallen tonight. Delasoa Bando has fallen tonight. Dr. Augustine Teria Bia has fallen tonight. Kwabena Woyome has also fallen tonight. The key question is it possible that Muntaka Mubarak of Asawase may be one of those?
Yes, one.
Let's hear now from Nana Yaojima,
who's joining us. 100 votes.
Who's joining us right now. Nana Yaojima, give us the latest from Asawase.
The whole of the parliamentary elections have not been counted completely. They have some of the polling stations, that the polling station A, the results have been counted, and the EC has the provisional results yet to declare that. And Muntaka is in clear lead. In the polling station A, Honorable Muntaka Mubarak was able to amass 468 votes, with Masaoud being able to chalk 372 votes. This is just for the polling station A. So this has come to the supporters of Muntaka as a joyful news. They are very excited with what they have so far. They are still on the polling station B because according to the supporters of Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, the polling station A was supposed to be the stronghold for their opponent. So for them to be able to win by about 98 votes in the polling station A, it looks like they are done with the election. So the counting is still ongoing at the second polling station, but it looks like the supporters of Muntaka are everywhere jubilating, excited about the feats they've been able to chalk in only the first polling station which have been counted and declared. So voting center or polling station A, Muntaka was able to make 468 votes with Masaoud Mubarak amassing 372 votes. But according to supporters of Muntaka Mubarak, they have emerged victorious in the election because the area that has been counted is supposed to be the stronghold of the opposition or of their opponent. So this is what is happening here at the Asawase constituency in the Ashanti region. For the presidential race, both polling station A and B has been counted, and the provisional results we have here so far, John Dramani Mahama was able to make 1,783 votes, 1,783 votes with Kojo Bonsu making 11 votes. Dr. Dufour, as we all know, withdrew from the race yesterday. So here he had no votes from the ballot cast here today. 15 rejected votes in the presidential election. Now, counting for the parliamentary election is still ongoing. That is for the polling station B. Polling station A done and declared for Muntaka, who is now leading by 98 votes here at the Asawase constituency.
Okay. And do we have any of the aspirants themselves there, Muntaka Mubarak or Mubarak himself, any of them there?
At the moment, we do not have any of the two here. Earlier, before the counting started, Mubarak was here with his wife, and this is when the confusion broke out here, and he left with his security men, and they have not been back to this area. We are expecting Muntaka Mubarak to come back for the declaration of the results, but it's late in the evening, 10 minutes past 10 o'clock. But the information I'm getting is that it's very likely that he will come here for the declaration and also jubilate with his supporters if he is able to emerge as winner of the election. But for the supporters, they believe that Honorable Muntaka Mubarak, who has so far taken a commanding lead with 98 votes, is going to emerge top of the election and also represent the NDC in the constituency for the parliamentary elections come 2024.
I'm just enjoying the sights and sounds from us. I just want to enjoy that, but I need to ask, 96 from polling station A, isn't it too close?
Well,
it's okay. It's just too, because you're waiting for one more polling
yeah,
station.
the explanation is that these numbers are from
A polling station.
I haven't been on the field for a very long time to cover elections. I thought that the polling stations would be divided. So if there are a lot of, so they would have a register for this side and that side, right? That's what they do.
Yeah.
So you have a register for this side. So you can actually know whose stronghold this is and whose stronghold that is. So it's very simple. If this is Mubarak's stronghold, what if, and we are doing analysis, okay, what if Mubarak also springs a surprise in Muntaka's stronghold? Because you sprang a surprise in his stronghold. But at this point in time, I don't know. Let's just wait and see. But, from all the indications I get from a lot of my friends in Kumasi and
Muntaka should win it.
They tell me that Muntaka is going to win it. They tell me that it's going to win it. And that's it.
What do you think?
I think that Muntaka is winning the election. I'm still trying to figure out how they were able to determine whether polling station A was Muntaka's stronghold. It's one constituency. Okay, they were supposed to vote in one ballot box. But because there are 1,800, they split them into two. So the areas would simply have been divided into two.
Yeah.
There's no scientific basis. They just divide them.
So maybe they just used the spatial to also to divide it. So you say from here to here, go here,
go here.
Yeah, go here, and so it cuts one side to another person.
But what he's saying then also gets me to question whether the 96 is safe enough now because it's close.
Then this is clearly, we're not even talking about that. It's not safe at all because if indeed where Muntaka got 96 is the stronghold of, no, where Muntaka won is the stronghold of Masaoud. Like you said, Masaoud could spring a surprise in the second polling station. And so I just think that it's a trend that is emerging, that Muntaka might win the constituency primaries.
Okay. So that's what we are witnessing now there, and the presidential is also coming in. I mean, I think in the next 11, this should end because we have MFI keeps updating this, 226,835 votes for John Mahama, 2,452 votes for Kojo Bonsu, and the total delegates are well over 300,000. So
I don't know who thinks that Kojo Bonsu is winning the 2,000 for a very long time.
Very long time.
Still yes. 2,000.
Because his numbers are just trickling in. Very tiny.
I mean, it looks like 2,000 for a very long time. 2,000.
So we haven't talked about him. What is his end game here? Why did he do this? Why did he spend these resources and everything else? We've analyzed extensively the local before, but what is his end game?
Well, he said he had a lot of ideas that God will not be happy with him if he doesn't serve Ghana. And so he was coming in there with all the ideas. Why did you?
His verdict is so resounding on your analysis.
I'm only reporting.
When people say they have ideas, that's why I look at you. Why should I? You have gone past that.
I'm only reporting what he said.
Okay.
The man says he has a lot of ideas. He has a lot of ways that he can help Ghana. Wherever he's been, he's succeeded. Whatever he's touched is turning to gold. And he thinks that he has a lot to offer Ghana. And the fact that the NPP has destroyed John Mahama. So if he doesn't put himself up for election.
Yeah, he was very caustic, huh?
Yeah, Ghanaians are going to lose from him because of the ideas he has. And that's why he's put himself up. So that tells you his end game. If the NDC wins, he has brilliant ideas. The last time he was in Kumasi, he had some challenges with the traditional authorities. Maybe this time he's not going to go to Kumasi as an MCE and may not go back as a regional minister, but probably be giving a sector in the country where he can transform and bring all his great ideas. Who knows?
I mean, but Minister, the same question, right, that we asked before. I think for him, he had a lot to gamble with, to play with. But what about Kojo Bonsu?
You say they are gambling on something bigger than the flag bearership. The thing that the dominance of the Ashanti region entitles it to a position in government. Both Kojo Bonsu and Comrade Dufo had fallback positions. Fallback positions Ghana enough support within the NDC parliamentary practice to force a consideration for a running mate. That's the consideration. And that if we find a typical Ashanti man, with the numbers and the Ashantis reposing their confidence in him, then the NDC is clear. I mean, NDC have always won elections, even if we get 18% of the votes in Ashanti.
That's an interesting point.
So it clearly has an end game. And that end game would not have worked for Comrade Dufo because of his age. But Kojo Bonsu clearly is not about winning, it's about being considered as running mate.
I mean, and at this point, it's an important point because going into 2020, where Dr. Comrade Dufo's name was, many people threw into the hat when it was considerations.
He almost got it.
Yes. In fact, I know many around him actually were campaigning. I was on air one day doing an analysis on the potential running mate, and his people were sending me messages on why they believe he's qualified. And people who were very, very close to him, very, very close to his campaign. So they actually lobbied and campaigned for it. It was very close to getting it. Could it then be?
It was not about what he himself represents. It's what he will bring on board
to the ticket. So could it then be the case that this whole campaign that he's run was to make another claim to it going into 2024, which Inusa Fuseni had just hit the nail on? And we were analyzing before what the end game was, right? could this be the case? And if that was the case, did he approach it right? Kojo Bonsu, I think possibly, well, he also went hard at John Mahama, really. I mean,
well, but you see, Kojo Bonsu, well, yeah, but Kojo Bonsu's bit, in the final moment he throws in the statement and says,
I remember that came after he had done an interview in Kumasi where he said he supported Dr. Kwabena Dufour's concerns and also backing the call for a postponement of the thing.
He came back to say with clarity that people can go to court. If you're not careful, people will go to court. And that's not like saying, I'm going to go to court. But, let's leave that. But I think that, look, he comes in around that time and, okay, we have to be careful and all of this. I can understand. But also, if you look at it critically, for Dr. Kwabena Dufour, age definitely not on his side. But that's something he's always fought, and he's told you that bring your health records, bring your medical records. Age not being on somebody's side, I mean, what does that really mean? Nobody knows who's going to die tomorrow. Any of us can die tomorrow. Anybody could live here. Nobody knows what happened. When God decides to call any of us, he would call us. But that's just another day. You're right. Kojo Bonsu could be making a deal. But really, because there's a strong push, okay? And watch this carefully. It started even with the NDC's regional elections, where there was a strong push to have the Ashanti region led by Asantes. They said, if you want us to vote for you, select people who are Asantes to lead the NDC in the Ashanti region. Then we will know that if you win elections, you're actually going to listen to people who are part of us and not those who are not part of us. And they would show you that after the elections, a lot of the people who won were not indigents of the Ashanti region. Put that aside. There's a strong push against the reselection of Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman.
Yeah.
There is a view that she didn't add much to the campaign. And it's time for the NDC to consider a running mate from the Ashanti region. The belief, and this is it, the conversation has always been that in this country, because of the Akan group, okay, over 40% of the population being Akans, and of the Akan groups, of the sub-dialects within Akan, or the subgroups within Akan, the Asantes have the highest percentage. So if they support you, you're likely to actually win the election. We have done analysis and I've said that whenever the NPP is able to get 76% or more votes in the Ashanti region, win. Well, there's a difference last election. But
and also when the NDC have also eaten above 25%.
Even when we get 18.
So the point is that they are pushing, and that's where the whole operation 1 million votes in Ashanti region came from.
Yes.
That was where it
That was
came
a concept.
Pushing 1 million votes, so let's get it. So the Asantes are pushing and are saying, and there's one thing I like about Asantes. It doesn't matter which party you belong to. Once you are part of them and you champion their cause. In fact, you could even be, there are times that you can be an Epe man, but you were born there, you live there. When you succeed, they tell you, you are part of them. So let me make the point now. So there is that strong push of that, why don't we get a running mate from the Ashanti region? You and I did analysis and talked about Otumfuo's chief that he sent to the town hall meeting wearing a sankofa.
Yeah.
There's
a lot of meaning to that.
A lot of meaning to that in 2020.
Yeah.
I say, and I can agree with you, that might be Kojo Bonsu's end game. But Kojo Bonsu's issue also is some of the challenges he had with the Kumasi Traditional Council, which some would say may not really play in his favor. But having said that also, once an indigene of a land is being honored this way, I'll call this an honor.
As if he gets the nod.
As if he gets a nod, the chiefs would rally around you. At that point in time, there would be talk. We'll forgive you.
So, by Winston, Professor Nana is an Akan.
Yes.
Okay. And those who argue that she brought nothing on board are not.
She didn't bring much.
She didn't bring much on board. They don't support that with evidence. Do they?
You think she brought
The NDC lost the central region.
They lost the central region. The election of Nana Copeland, going into a contest with President John Dramani Mahama, got NDC to get more than 6 million votes. This is the only time that the party went into an election and got 6 million and over votes.
That's also because the electorates had increased.
Well, yes, but they got more than 6 million votes.
So you use a percentage.
So why, when President Mahama ran with somebody else, they didn't get 6 million votes, did they?
No, but on that score,
I mean, I don't like this argument.
Alaji.
You are pushing an argument and a narrative that is coming from people who don't give us any evidence.
No, but I'm going to give you the evidence. And I'm saying that when you make that point, I just told you what people have said. But when you make that
I've heard that argument.
Yes, but when you make that point, that she gave you 6 million votes, I said
that partnering with Mahama.
But I would say that's because the number of electorates had increased. So in that case, it just doesn't...
Had increased by what percentage?
Hold on a second.
Because the President Mahama ran with
around 12 going to 17. That's a huge...
But President Mahama ran with Emisa Atta. We got 4 million votes.
No, but you see...
With a 12 million voter population.
Yes, but 4 million votes. So you understand?
But hold on a second. So you also do the calculation with what Mahama moved from in 2012 to what he got in 2016. Juxtapose that with 2020. And in all of this, the reason...
But if we're going to do such a political analysis, then it doesn't favor...
No, the reason...
The thinking... No. It means that Nana was really a great force.
No, hold on. So the reason they actually make... No, the reason they make the percentage analysis here is one of the times I'd agree with percentage analysis, because the reason you do a percentage analysis here is that the margins have increased. The figures, as in the raw figures. The raw figures have increased. The number of voters has increased. And so you now would have to calculate the percentage of this number of voters compared to the percentage previously. So you can actually make a case that, okay, if you had 44% in 2016, and then increased to 47%, that's an improvement. But how about 50% in 2012? And reducing to 4%.
So how the reduction was, in that reduction, the person who partnered Mahama was not Nana.
It was the same person. No, hold on.
But you had a presidential candidate, and it was the same quantity. That known quantity. Then you had an unknown quantity, partnering the known quantity, and making progress.
So it was the same. So listen. It was the same person.
And probably if Nana had partnered Mills in Mahama in 2016, would have won the elections.
So it was so... No, hold on a second.
I can make that argument.
No, so it was the same... See, it was the same person in 2012 and same person in 2016. So you would look at the same person and look at that same person. We now would reduce it to the central region where she comes from. Also, as part of the dynamics that we want to do. But that's for another day. We'll come back to this another day. When we're done with all we'll come back to this another day. But I'm just trying to say that, you see, so you just have to reduce it. You move from here and come here and say, okay, so what happened in this year? And now reduce it to performance in the central region. And if everything is the same, you can even reduce it even to constituency performances.
You can also reduce it to gender.
Okay,
you can also reduce its gender, of course. I mean, first...
But we don't have those votes, for instance.
We don't.
We don't have...
How
many men voted for you and how many didn't vote for you. So that's something that maybe going forward, can we do that? We can't do that.
Yeah. No, so that is an interesting one going forward. I mean, the end game of, Kojo Bonsu, we don't know. We'll see when this whole thing is done. He's securing very, very tiny little margins. I mean, but considering that John Mahama has given Joshua Alabi a significant role in his campaign as his manager after he came second in the last primary. Does that signal anything? That maybe Kojo Bonsu then is in a good place going forward, because John Mahama might want to sort of tap into that constituency. I mean, you don't want to alienate him. Considering the way he's run his campaign, do you think that he can also get into John Mahama's close fold going into 2024?
He can.
Because remember, Alabi is not only the campaign manager this time, the 2020 elections. He was very instrumental as well.
The campaign manager.
Exactly, going forward. Does that signal anything the way John Mahama might treat Kojo Bonsu going forward?
Well, so the whole idea is that the NDC as a party must move like a monolithic whole, in the sense that we must be united in our attempt to win election 2024. And that being so, all the even including the four, will have roles to play. I remember in 2020, there was a general call that all the 7 or so people who contested with Mahama ought to have a role to play. But Professor Alabi stood out. The Greater Accra region needed to be given prominence. And at that time, the discussion was that you will have to find another rule for Central region. A rule for Volta region came up, especially when the Volta region did not have good representation in the national executives. Mm-hmm. But the consolation was that they had just produced the outgone Speaker of Parliament. What role do you carve out for the Speaker of Parliament? And now I see him playing very important roles in the party, especially in the recent past when he met Kojo Dufo and Co. So Alabi stood up because we needed to demonstrate that Greater Accra ought to be represented at the highest level. But the general thinking is that everybody, including all the parliamentary candidates who have contested elections, have to put it behind them, those who have lost, and support the incumbents to win the elections. Because if NDC does win 2020, President Mahama will need a handsome majority in parliament to be able to push through policy.
Yeah.
And if you don't get that, it will be difficult.
So that's the situation with the presidential, and we keep checking with the EC strong room. At the last count, John Mahama has 234,795 votes, with Kojo Bonsu 2,544 votes. So we are waiting to see what comes out of that. I mean, that's will be towards the end. I mean, that race is done and dusted. John Mahama wins it handsomely, and then we are waiting for Asawase. In fact, that will be the last thing we want to do before we wrap up. And so Asawase is very close. We're going to take a break. We'll return. The Asawase result will be ready, and then we'll have it here on your election headquarters. Stay with us. NDC Primaries. He's now being spoken to by media men there. We'll get that for you here on your lecture headquarters, what he's been saying there. Can we listen in?
That have worked tirelessly to ensure that today happens. I sincerely thank each and every one of them. I want to thank my wives, my children, my family, my brothers, especially one distinguished gentleman, Nino Brown, for all the work that he has done. I really, really, really appreciate each and every one of them. All the effort they have made, the sleepless nights, the headaches, the walking in the rain, the walking in the darkness, to make sure that the truth continues to stand. Truth, the lies can only punish the truth, but lies can never overtake the truth. I am very grateful for the people of Asawase that despite all these years of service, they continue to have this love and trust in me. I thank each and every one of you, especially the media, for spending all this time to cover all these programs from the very start of the campaign till today. I am really, really grateful, and I pray that the good Lord continue to bless all of you.
The Asawase results. The specific numbers will come through pretty shortly, but the result is that Muntaka Mubarak has been retained by the delegates, and that is one that will be pretty heartwarming for many who supported him, because many saw this as the closest race yet that he's had to deal with. Now he's won. You heard him say, he was flanked by his two wives as he delivered his acceptance speech into the microphones that were eager to hear from him, because this has been a pretty tough, keenly contested parliamentary primary for him. We'll wait to see the actual numbers, then to see the margin there, because it'll be interesting to see how this all ended with the Mubarak, who had given him a good run for his money in this constituency. But he's won tonight. If you're just joining us, Muntaka Mubarak has won the Asawase constituency primary on that, of course. And from what we're expecting now, he will go into the 2024 elections contesting. And I'm just being sent a copy of the EC's declaration sheet. Difficult to see, but from what I see, Muntaka Mubarak secured 1,063 votes, and Mubarak secured, Masaudu secured 735 votes, if I'm not mistaken. 735 votes. So that is significant. That is a significant margin of victory there. So in the end, it wasn't close. In the end, it wasn't close at all, as many had predicted. 1,063 votes for Muntaka Mubarak and 735 votes for Mubarak Masaudu. So that's the story there at the Asawase constituency, where Mubarak Muntaka Mohammed has now won that primary. This is what you expected?
Yes. I had always known that Muntaka Mubarak will win. I knew the place was quite acrimonious, and so the police will have to show some level of force to get order and discipline to be restored. The people of Asawase have always shown some level of love and understanding for Muntaka Mubarak, and so I knew he would win. The margin also is a decent margin, and so there's a renewal of the mandate of Muntaka to represent the constituency in the upcoming parliamentary elections. And again, he stands a chance of winning. I mean, like I said, I am one such person who had believed that we should give all the members of parliament an opportunity to represent the party in parliament. Now, the decision is a decision of their constituents. And Muntaka, even though there have been some difficulties in his constituency, he is one person who has garnered a lot of experience in parliament. He knows how parliament works, and so you would not want to lose such a person in parliament. I'm sure those considerations agitated the minds of the people of Asawase to return him to parliament, or retain him as their parliamentary candidate. And so let's see what happens going forward.
Yeah, and so that's the news coming in right now. As we've just been reporting, we'll get Nanaya Juma to join us again to fill us in, get a bit more reaction from the constituents and also the delegates who had been there all day waiting for this particular outcome to be declared. Yes, so the news coming in from Asawase is that Muntaka Mubarak had won, and won handsomely. It wasn't close at all at the end when this was declared. In the end, Muntaka Mubarak secured 1,063 votes as against 735 for Mubarak. Winston, so that's it. It wasn't close at all in the end.
No, it wasn't close.
He won handsomely.
And, you know, the moment you had Masaudu Mubarak going in there, we talked about that act of desperation. And Honorable Isiana, I've made this point before, that if you're going to lose an election, you will know.
You know.
You know at a point.
Yeah.
You know. It will dawn on you that you're going to lose an
yeah,
election. And yes, so that's it. For the delegates in Asawase, they probably may say, well, this has brought, has galvanized their base a little bit, but there's also been a lot of acrimony in there. And the party would have a lot of work to do in bringing them back. I mean, Muntaka was very confident of victory. I was listening to him earlier in the afternoon when he spoke about the fact that, look, he just came in Friday, he just came not about a week ago and did a lot of his elections. He's been in Accra, he's been attending to parliamentary issues. He's talked about all the things that, according to him, Masaud Mubarak had been promising in the constituency, and he's asked questions about, whether he could do all of those things. He's talked about money sharing and all of that. But the most important thing for me is that at the end of it all, the delegates chose Muntaka, an indication that they're happy with what he's been doing so far. And Evans, when we had the conversation this morning, we actually singled out his performance in 2020 and asked the question, if he did so well,
why makes sense. The numbers just backed him.
Yes, why would you want to, beg your pardon, why would you want to unseat him? Ordinarily, you would want to unseat persons that you believe are not doing well, and so you believe that, when you change personnel, and I give a typical example. When in the NPP, for instance, Papa Wosu Ankuma in 2012, he contested and won with about 800 votes. The NDC was very confident they were going to win the seats the next year. And Andre Japamesa emerged and wins by some 9,000 margin, because that was a fresh face. Everybody felt that, look, okay, so we're fed up with Papa Wosu Ankuma. Andre Japamesa comes in and he does the job for them. But if the delegates are voting for the candidate, you probably would ask yourself, why would you want to change him, considering the fact that it was very close in 2016. Even the NPP had considered and had harbored the thoughts that they were going to win the Asawase seat. It's been a difficult running for Muntaka. Of course, the evidence suggests it was like a cool chop, but I guess events leading to it after that wasn't that easy. For instance, his issues with his chairman and all. It's just like the Sam George victory, where in the build-up we all thought it was going to be a keenly contested race. But of course, once the numbers increase, also you would know changes may happen here. Congratulations to Muntaka.
He will have to now try and build some bridges.
Sure,
I mean, a lot of the bridges have been bent over the period. The fight within the constituency, somehow going forward, he will now have to unite. The party will have to get in there because they need to win elections next year is the main thing. Let's go back to the constituency. Let's bring in Nana Yaujima, who is there for us. Nana, so he's won. He's delivered his speech to you journalists. He's left. Give us a feeling among his supporters and delegates who are there. This must be a night for jubilation.
It's excitement all over the Asawase constituency. A number of the Muntaka supporters who are just leaving the election premises are very, very, very excited about the success of Muntaka Mubarak in this election. If you look at the numbers, it looks like Muntaka defeated his competitor by less than 300 votes. And this, to many, shows that Muntaka still have a hold of the election, even though some are still surprised about the number of ballots that Mubarak Masaud was able to poll in this election. So it's all excitement for the supporters of Muntaka Mubarak and Muntaka himself in the Asawase constituency. He danced out of the election premises, and even in his speech, it was obvious that he's excited, and he thanked all of the people who have been supporting him throughout this period, because to many it was a very difficult election, and Muntaka once again have proven his dominance over the Asawase constituency.
Yes, Nana Yaujima, I wonder if you have any of his delegates, the delegates or constituents around who can, give us a sense, a taste of how they are feeling, share with us their thoughts. And it's amazing how quickly the place can be so deserted, because this place was was packed.
Have you contested an election?
No. And I know it's
I have contested elections before. In elections that you've won, they're all Home alone.
Even your supporters will go and support the
You walk home. You walk home alone.
We have not lost elections before.
You haven't lost elections before, okay. Well, let's get Nana Aljima's thoughts. He's asked some people standing with him. Hello, Nana. Yes, let's hear them.
So you were speaking about why or how the place just got empty, and I was explaining that a number of the Muntaka supporters have followed the convoy of Honorable Muntaka, and also Honorable Muntaka's convoy came with this sound system. So majority of them are following the sound system and enjoying, jubilating all over the Asawase constituency. As you can see, there is heavy traffic at the entrance of the venue for the election. So it should tell you that all the people who came here to listen to the results have followed the Muntaka convoy, and today it will be a jamboree here in the Asawase constituency. So I would want to speak to some of the delegates or some of the people who have been here to witness what's happened this evening. So they are all women here. Mami. So okay. So I have with me one of the women organizers within the wards in the Asawase constituency. Mami, another money aje. Na other time money aje sabi. Even though Muntaka Mubarak I went in, there was a Mubarak or no ever contested no why there pa less than 300 votes and Muntaka the winning.
Don't for na the yazo ya yin na.
Mami on catch kaka.
First now oba no. Obenya be 100 200 say there anka wo ya pim into Nankopon aje empaibo efise yempese yenko etire ye wanum yepese yenko anim saa enti na yesu ya yere ho ya ka se beto ama no ene ya sa to ama no ene Yakofa aje empaibo ene wasa wi no efise wo kwa tire o afa na be start we nso wadu anim bibia nso ya ni kwinchi wo ya fine ense bibia nso
So in brief, what she is saying is that Muntaka Mubarak has already taken a lead in Parliament. He's doing well for the constituency, so it will be in the good direction of the constituency that they keep him in power, and he helped develop the Asawase constituency. If they should have voted for Masaud Mubarak, he is new in Parliament and he would be starting a new agenda. So it will be very proper that they keep Muntaka. Mame, when you na we are Muntaka supporter. Na adentina ora Muntaka was say ono no say come to
boy ekunyani wo de wayari wo de odene na asamba otemi buwa no enti ye pese won kwa animu.
So she is saying that Muntaka has been helping them financially. Some widows and others within the Asawase constituency are financially supported by Muntaka. So it will be proper that they also vote Muntaka and thank him for all that he has done for them. I can see this woman here, and she has powder all over her face, signifying victory.
Goodness me. We lost him there. I really wanted to hear the last bit. But the thing that these women have said that struck us all here, they are very astute, politically astute. They read the temperature, and they're thinking about they're looking at the big picture.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the case, and so we're having this conversation earlier. Now, this is a man who's been in Parliament 5 times. Okay, 5 times. Yeah. Now, are you going to change him? And this is your party facing an election that everybody says is theirs to lose. If Muntaka is in there from the Ashanti region, as a member of Parliament from Asawase, it will be difficult for John Mahama to overlook him. Look, irrespective of whatever you say against Muntaka, you cannot overlook him and say, Muntaka, at best you say, okay, you go back to Parliament and go and lead a work in Parliament. So even there, he has a lot of influence. And we're having the conversation earlier. This, for me, shows you that the delegates know one thing.
Yeah.
They know that politics in Ghana is what they get at the end of the day. And in order to get something at the end of the day, you must also elect a representative who can actually get you there. And that representative must not start anew. He must be one who's already known. So unless the man who's already known is unwilling to contest, or the man who's already known has lost touch with the base will always return him, because they know that once he goes there, the more he goes, the more he will get goodies and bring some home. And you heard, the widow saying he takes care of them. There was a player who went for trials, but Asante Kotoko got injured, a life-threatening injury. He paid his bills. And all of these things are things that were being shown in the last week or two to the elections to show the sort of things that Mohamed Mubarak Muntaka does in that constituency.
You see, experience counts.
Yeah.
You remember, was it in 1990 that Roger Miller played his last game?
No, in 94, he played in the World Cup in 94.
94?
Yeah.
And he redeemed the...
When Russia was beating Cameroon, he scored the only goal.
Not that. Was it not Argentina. Costa Rica. He got 2 goals in the extra time.
Yeah, in the 1990 World Cup.
90 World Cup.
Yes.
Experience counts. He saved the day. He was 33 then. 33 years old. 38 years old.
38.
So you see, people value experience. They know when the push comes to shove, it's your experience that will get you out. That's why I believe that delegates know exactly who should represent them in Parliament. That sometimes it's we, the politicians, who introduce them to money. But they always know who should represent them.
Really point, yeah.
Now, so for Mutanka Mubarak, he's known his way in Parliament. In fact, unlike the MPP, the NDC will always consider people from the Ashanti region who have stood on their ticket and won elections for them. If they don't get them ministerial positions, they'll get them onto boards. You get them to chair. Remember, they would simply give them roles, because you can't do that. I remember my good friend who is now the chief executive officer of the Zango Development Fund. I was surprised.
Ben Abdallah?
I was surprised that in the first term of Nanado, when this man was the only Muslim MP from the Ashanti region on the ticket of the MPP, they simply did not consider him. I mean, it can happen in NDC. It can happen. So the delegates know that in the future NDC government, Muntaka will play a role. It's better to hedge their bets with Muntaka than to try somebody else. But I agree. There are acrimony in the Asawasi constituency. Except that I think that the party must go and resolve the issues and get them to work together so that we can up the numbers. Yes, these elections have energized the base of the party. The turnout has been massive. Even with the boycotts and the confusion, the turnout has been massive. It means that the members of the party have been waiting for an opportunity like this to renew their faith in the party. And they have done so spectacularly. So for me, I think that what we have seen today has brought to the climax the reorganization of the party that started at the branch level, moved on to the constituency level, to the regional level, and to FEC. Now we've elected the full complement of our members of parliament and our flag bearer, who will be on the ballot paper on the 7th day of December 2024. The icing on the cake is to get somebody to partner John Dramani Mahama. Choosing the partner will be very important for the NDC, because John Dramani Mahama is going for 4 years. He doesn't intend to exercise the option to go for 8 years, because he wants to respect the Constitution. So for us, we need to start. I mean, in choosing our running mate, we need to consider somebody who will go beyond the 4 years and do 8 years or even more. Breaking the 8 will actually happen when NDC wins election 2024, because they will present a new face in 2028, and he might have the opportunity, when that person wins, will have the opportunity of presenting himself again.
So you're making a very important point that in the selection of a running mate, you also need to be thinking about the succession plan.
Plan. And that succession plan must include somebody who will be healthy enough to contest in 2032.
That's a very important point.
But the current, the last running mate was born in 1951.
Well, I'm just giving the dynamics.
No, I'm just giving you, because we had that conversation earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm just giving. No, I'm just.
So I'm just giving you the permutations.
I'm only making the point again that in 2024, 73, 2028, 77.
Yeah, but I mean, if you use that criteria as, and it has to be a factor in the consideration.
Yeah.
If the NDC really wants to play the long game, Mahama maximum will have 4 years. You need to start prepping somebody to take over. NPP has done that. Now that's why many people say, Baumia. So you need somebody there. That, for many, will say, Prof. Nana is not casting that mold to become your next flag bearer. So that would possibly disqualify her as a running mate.
Well, I don't. I
tell you what.
For a lot of reasons.
Really.
I tell you what.
If that is an overriding consideration, that would be difficult for her.
If Mahama selects Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman to be the running mate, and if they win the elections in 2024, I will be surprised if she doesn't contest to be flag bearer.
Oh, she will.
She will.
I mean, she will. I mean, Misata was prepping to do so. Yeah. Right? So as for that, she will. But the question is, would she...
So that's going to be the consideration. That look, as a party, we don't want a repeat of what happened to John Dramani Mahama. We don't want our president to come, do 4 years, there's a break, and we're coming back for 4 years. We don't want it. Okay. So some balancing of source that has to be done.
We'll have this conversation another day.
We're gonna take you to the EC headquarters, but this is where we wrap up for now, as we wait for the declaration from the Electoral Commission of the presidential results, which, as it stands right now, we know John Dramani Mahama will be confirmed as the party's next flag bearer for 2024. We're waiting for the Electoral Commission to make that official. But for now, you've joined us since yesterday covering this. We are grateful that you did so. There have been many significant names, significant casualties, incumbent members of parliament who have lost their seats tonight. They will be beginning to come to terms, lick their wounds, new faces joining the race, also going to parliament, Dr. Titus Bayo, Sadiq and co. And then there have been the celebrities who've also dropped by. The national wedding candidate who lost his seat in Keta, Kojo Jones, has been one, and his name has been trending. It's been fun today. It's been controversy. It's been a lot of analysis, but we now know the names of the individuals who will be representing the NDC in the 2024 elections at the parliamentary level. There are still some constituencies outstanding, like Ayawaso West Wagon, where primaries will be held later. We'll cover that for you as well. Right now, we're waiting for the EC to confirm what I've just told you, that John Dramani Mahama will become the NDC's flag bearer for 2024. And then go on to myjoyonline.com. Go on to our many social media platforms. There you will find the many giants who have fallen tonight. Dr. Kwabena Donko has fallen. Edward Bauer has fallen. Della Soa has fallen. The MP for Setre, Afram Plains, one of the few constituencies in the Ashanti region where the NDC holds a seat. Mr. Mensah, family relative, a brother of Dr. Kwabena Donko Sr. has fallen, as we've analyzed, because the family feud allowed an outsider to sneak in and become the candidate. Enjoy the rest of your evening, but stay with us as we wait for the EC to make it official.
The parliamentary elections, we have Apollo Okulu at 673 votes. And White, 560 votes. Giving the at 19 votes. Further depression and as the returning officer of the country, I declare Honorable Linda.
Do you feel confident that your son is going to win?
I came to support my son, that's all.
You came to support your son, but are you confident that he's going to win?
He will win, hands down.
Hands down. But some people in your constituency are saying that the incumbent has done a lot for the constituency and that he would win. And we know that he's your brother too. So what do you have saying about that?
My son will win.
Your son will win?
Yeah.
That's sure.
He will win, eh? Hey.
Do you feel confident that your son is going to win?
I came to support my son, that's all.
You came to support your son, but are you confident that he's going to win?
He will win, hands down.
Hands down.
But some people in your constituency are saying that the incumbent has done a lot for the constituency and that he would win. And we know that he's your brother too. So what do you have saying about that?
My son will win.
Your son will win?
Yeah.
That's sure.
He will win, eh? Hey.
Do you feel confident that your son is going to win?
I came to support my son, that's all.
You came to support your son, but are you confident that he's going to win?
He will win, hands down.
Hands down. But some people in your constituency are saying that the incumbent has done a lot for the constituency and that he would win. And we know that he's your brother too. So what do you have saying about that?
My son will win.
Your son will win?
Yeah.
That's sure.
He will win, eh? Hey.
Do you feel confident that your son is going to win?
I came to support my son, that's all.
You came to support your son, but are you confident that he's going to win?
He will win, hands down.
Hands down. But some people in your constituency are saying that the incumbent has done a lot for the constituency and that he would win. And we know that he's your brother too. So what do you have saying about that?
My son will win.
Your son will win?
Yeah.
That's sure.
He will win, eh? Hey.
With the presidential, we have the first candidate, the person of John Dramani Mahama, obtaining a total of 681 votes. Mr. Ojobosu obtained 30 votes. We had a total of 27 rejected ballots. And these 27 rejected ballots includes the 21 votes obtained by Dr. Omedupo, who pulled out of the contest at the last hour. And so all the votes he got become rejected. So in line with the party's constitution and on the principle of simple majority, John Dramani Mahama has won the Cherry Point constituency. For the parliamentary, we had the first candidate, the person of Yakubu Seydou Kalamba, obtaining a total of 247 votes. Mr. Sulemana Isifu Kunje got 90 votes. Then Mr. Seydou Alhassan Alajo pulled 394 votes. Mr. Alaza Lamaram had 6 votes. We had 2 rejected ballots. So going by the votes, and in line with the principles of simple majority, Mr. Seydou Alhassan Alajo is hereby declared the parliamentary candidate-elect to represent the NDC in the Cherry Point constituency. Yeah, so I think this is the result. So I want to end by thanking all party agents present. I can't actually thank the security agencies enough. But they've been very helpful to us. We are much grateful for that. And it is our hope and prayer that as we prepare towards the 2024 general elections, we end as peaceful as we did here.
Of the moment.
This moment, you know, this moment, you know, hello.
campaign, as well as to the delegates who recognized the fact that this was not about just talk, but this was about a track record of work and who is able to deliver.
It's been a while since any member of parliament from your constituency actually won the primaries back to back to back. I think you'll be the first individual to do that in close to 15 years. How does that make you feel, and what is the way forward for Team Zenato and the NDC?
Well, it's humbling actually, but it's also encouraging. It's a reminder not to just get complacent. We have a lot of work ahead of us, and so this is just a way to ginger us up and keep moving. It sends a signal that we are united and we're ready for 2024.
I mean, in the morning when I interviewed you, I posed a question about your father's presence and what it might have done or undone to your political career. You answered that your father wasn't there the last time.
In 2020.
In 2020.
But his spirit is behind us.
Say again?
But his spirit is behind us.
So you want to believe that your father's spirit is behind you?
Of course.
But he's not here today, but I can see scores of people jubilating at the result. And that shows drinks of your hard work. Do you agree?
I think it does. I think it does. I think it does. And I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful, yes.
Going forward in 2024, what should the NDC expect from you if the gap here is anything to go by? Is there any promise you'd like to make to probably the one who will be leading the NDC going forward?
No promises except for one, that we will work as hard as we ever work and we will deliver on what we say we will.
Congratulations, Member of Parliament.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nobody should touch it. Let the office try it. Check it. Check the thing 1-1. So far as there's one there, it's no.
My victory in the primaries today is significant of the fact that the party has recognized my contributions over the years. I am seeking for a 4th term in Parliament, and I want to thank my people for giving me the opportunity to represent the party in the 2024 general elections. I believe strongly that my victory today was as a result of my commitment to serving my people. I believe that I've served my people well, and that is why they have given me the opportunity again to lead them into the elections in 2024. The work has started with this confirmation today, giving me the opportunity to serve as the PC for the party. We need to reorganize ourselves from today so that we can help the presidential candidate, that is JM, to win the 2024 elections so that we can form a government and provide the necessary development that our people are looking for.
What do you have?
Well, if you listen to the ground, I know that it is not his time. He said we're going to sit down and re-strategize for the 2024 elections. We all know the reasons for the drop in votes last 2020 general elections, and we are working seriously at it so that we can reverse the trend and increase even the votes in 2024.
Thank you. Congrats.
And I told you that based on the work that I have done over the period and the responses that I have obtained from the delegates of AEP, I was confident of a significant victory. So this did not come to me as a surprise, but rather it serves as a motivation to work even harder to win the ultimate battle in 2024. Yes, I knew that the other aspirants in the 2019 contest took up some of my votes because of the peculiar nature of voting in AEP. So there was a need to take steps to ensure that that did not happen this time. So I didn't know what to be done to get the other aspirants to step down and not contest. And once I did that, I was confident that I had the support of a vast majority of AEP delegates. So this margin does also does not come to me as a surprise. Because as I went for and engaged the responses of the delegates, I knew that I think that the first course of action is to reach out to my opponents and put them on the back what is by every indication a valiant effort. And for someone who is relatively new to politics, I think she put up an admirable battle, and we have to respect her contributions to the development of democracy in AEP and NDC as a whole. So I think she has potential that needs to be tapped. And I'll reach out to her to ensure that together we form a united front to confront the NPP and take the seat from them. I've always maintained that this is essentially an NDC seat, but often internal wranglings and other disagreements have prevented us from winning. And I'm determined to ensure that we correct whatever mistakes we made in the past and forge a united.
The MP elect, that's the presidential parliamentary candidate elect, and of course he has maintained the position as the candidate. Honorable, the microphone is yours. What is it that you want to tell all of us? But the good thing I must say is that before the declaration, the closest contenders and other candidates that of course were vying for the position had already congratulated him. So that is a plus and that is good enough. Honorable, we are listening to you.
Let's give thanks to the Almighty. Without him, any of this could have been impossible. We thank God that we've been able to conduct these elections in peace. And the Almighty God has actually spoken through the delegates. This was a family contest. The contest is over. We will have to come together as one party to fight what I would call likely our hopeful, which is the NDC, or our enemy, which is the NDC. What we have done will not be important if we don't want to really do election. So I think the delegates wanted to go with someone who knows or who they know definitely win the election. Our focus now is to win the presidential election and to win the parliamentary election. And that is the work that we'll be doing from now until the election, so that we will be able to get rid of this incompetent government who basically has to have to run this country. Pray and hope that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama will become the next president. I can bet you that the committee will be the member of parliament. Experience! This was a contest, more or less, with my younger brothers. It's like a heavyweight and bantamweight fight. Experience! So when you're a bantamweight and when you fight heavyweight, you have to gain weight as your challenge to be able to fight. And then, of course, I knew that I would be able to. The fight is usually in the ring. But once the fight is over, they are my brothers. I'll bring them together and move forward. The microphone has been handed over to the MP elect, that's the presidential parliamentary candidate elect, and of course, he has maintained the position as the candidate. Honorable, the microphone is yours. What is it that you want to tell all of us? But the good thing I must say is that before the declaration, the closest contenders and other candidates that, of course, were vying for the position had already congratulated him. So that is a plus, and that is good enough. Honorable, we are listening to you. Let's give thanks to the Almighty. Without him, if we are desperate.
This is the EC headquarters, I should say, and it's your election headquarters. And the final moments that we've been waiting for is here. And thankfully, Evan Spencer has just joined us from the studio. How did you get here?
Well, I had to make sure that I come to. Yeah, you were enjoying too much because I was seeing the action. I was left in the studio. Inusa Fuseni obviously had to go, so I said, "Let me come and join you in the engine room to see what's happening."
You're welcome. Good to see you. And Samuel Kojo Brace is also here. I've been with him the whole day, and I'm sure it's time for us to wrap up. How did it go for you?
No, it's been tiring but enjoyable. I mean, I'm looking at how the figures are able to change within seconds. I mean, it was just exciting that you're serving Ghana from here.
Okay. But interestingly, we are in the single digits now, and the final moment is here, Evans. So from 277, now we are 2. In fact, we had 1. But at this point, the EC would not want to display the figures. But at the last count, maybe I'll run you through it. We've done 275 out of the 277 results that we are waiting for. So that's 2 constituencies or polling stations remaining. And at that count, JDM had 296,550, and Kojo Bonsu had 3,173, and the total is 299,723. So we are waiting for just one more, constituency to go, and then we can go to the NDC headquarters for the final declaration, the official declaration from the Electoral Commission. But really, you can sum it all up for us as the head of the political desk, leading all this for today. We must commend you really for making this happen. But really, let's talk about how this coverage has been, everything so far from the monitoring that you've done in the studios up until now.
So the numbers you mentioned put John Mahama well over 98% of the votes. Possibly by the time it comes down, possibly we'll get the 99% that he's seeking, because the Komadu Force votes have now been counted as rejected ballots. So he's in that region, which is really what he needed. He needed an emphatic, overwhelming victory. He will get it. Whether we are going to hear from him tonight or not, do we know? We're going to hear from him tonight?
No, we are not hearing from JDM tonight. We are told there will be a video, then the official acceptance speech or victory speech will be on Monday in Tamale. At least that's the information that we got earlier from the team. If anything changes, we don't know just yet. But what we've been told is that there will be no victory speech from JDM tonight. I think a video will play, and then on Monday in Tamale, that's when we'll get the official, at least a victory speech from JDM.
And it's key that he's going. So I was asking Inusa, why is he going to Tamale, and he says Tamale is his base. He wants to go back to his base. He wants to use this as a galvanizing mechanism, and that's why he's doing it in Tamale, because he could have done it anywhere, but he's chosen Tamale because he wants to reconnect to that base and galvanize that base to show them that the party is overwhelmingly behind him, because in 2024 it will come down to how galvanized the NDC grassroots will be in giving him or giving the party that nod, because that 5 million votes is always guaranteed for the NDC. Can they bring all of that to the polls, which is really what he's hoping to achieve with this. So everybody else who is outside of this bracket right now will see that the party is united behind him, and there's no point sitting on the fence now. That's why he needed this particular emphatic victory. He was going to win anyway, but he needed this 99% victory to get everybody else on board, and which is what he's getting. The party will do the official declaration at the headquarters very shortly. But this is significant for him, for John Mahama. I'm sure he knew this will happen. The case was, can he deliver 99%? And he's done it. You went around this morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, wherever we went to, you could have a feel that the party had decided to give John Mahama that overwhelming victory. It was only left to when that will be. We were thinking it would be before 10, but it didn't. But the thing is that there was that decision that he is the most marketable brand we have. He is the most well-resourced person we have to lead us. Let's let him go. So the main competition was between the parliamentary aspirant, not really the flag bearership, because for the flag bearership, it was gone. It was John Mahama's own to lose.
I'm sure at this point, Evans is itching to have an interaction with Dr. Srebo Kweku. I had my bite earlier, and he gave me the target of 10. Maybe with you, once you get the target, it will be now and will be gone. So I would leave you to go quickly, and then let's catch Dr. Srebo Kweku, a word from him before he goes to the NDC headquarters for the official and final declaration of the results of that. So I'll hand over to you now, Evans, and then you can look at that quick interaction with Dr.
I mean, Cyril Koku has been at the engine of this, handling the press stuff. And as you can see there, the room is getting a bit more active because the EC is willing and ready to leave to the NDC headquarters. Mr. Brokaku, you'll be leaving to the NDC headquarters soon?
I hope so.
Okay. Well, hope so meaning that you are still out waiting for someone comes in?
Abuasis West. It rained. They were doing at Abuasis Stadium, so when it rained, so they have to call off or suspend the voting to the rain cease before they could start. So as we speak to you, I hear they are one that was to the counting. So we could have gone ahead to declare the results. But once it is only one place, we want them to face that there will be any further explanation why they are not having a full complement.
So that's Obuasi West, okay. And the accounting now?
Yes, the accounting. So, according to them, there are challenges with Manchester South. So that one, there was no election at all.
So you're going to have in a total 276?
No, 274. But the noise should be 275. 274 plus Guan to be 274. Plus their headquarters 276. So it is 277 because of the one we created at their headquarters. So if you take away the Manchester South, it will be left with 276. Then the 77, and we have 275. We are left with at Obuasi West.
I mean, so give or take in the next 20 minutes, this should be wrapped up.
I hope so. Because it depends on when they finish the counting. Somebody says they want to recount, they want blah blah, then that delays it.
And, but you are not concerned with the parliamentary at all primaries. You are concerned here.
They've sent them here, but the result there is final. So we only keep them for records. Because as at now, anybody who has won the constituency election there is a parliamentary candidate. We have no decision on them. So that's why, but this one, the chairperson is the return officer. So that's why we are concerned about this. So when we finish tomorrow, we can put all of them together and submit them to the party. But we have the results here.
Walk us through what happens when you get to the NDC headquarters with the final results.
Oh, we are going there just to announce the result that we have compiled over here, that you are all aware. So it's not anything new. We are only going to announce what we have done here to the party, that this is the choice of the people, and this whoever will be declared is the one who is going to be the flag bearer.
So now we're waiting for Obuasi South to come in, Obuasi West to come in, and then I'll wrap up. And Dr. Brokaku, we'll come back to you maybe. Okay, so that's the update. Okay, so Obuasi West, as I just heard, they've actually now finished counting. The General Secretary of the party should be sending that in pretty soon. And if counting is done at Obuasi West, where it's rained, and they had to wait for them to finish before they will send the results here. Once Obuasi West comes in, what will happen is the Electoral Commission will now put the rest of the results together and head to the NDC headquarters and formally announce the outcome of the presidential poll, after which the party will then take over, and then we expect to hear from John Mahama in a recorded address. And so that is what we are waiting for. That is one constituency. The only delay is because of rain. My colleagues, both Elting and Blessed, will join me shortly. And of course, I still have here with me my other colleagues here with me, Brace and MFA Pal. So MFA, so from what I'm hearing, the Obuasi West is now done. They've finished the counting, and so we're expecting the results in here. The General Secretary, I'm told, is sending that results to the EC officers here, and then they'll finish and wrap up and send it to the NDC headquarters for a formal announcement, etc. I mean, so this should be coming to an end anytime soon. The question is whether you'll be following them
The team is already on standby there. So we've got you covered. This is your election headquarters, and every nook and cranny is covered. And just when you were interacting with Dr. Sribokweku about this Obuasi West situation, people are still up watching and raising concerns about it. So it's good that you've given that clarification that it's indeed done, and we are waiting for results from there. But because everybody's itching now, the party faithful, everybody's waiting for the final results, and he tells you we are almost there.
Yeah, I mean, he says, when we're talking to him, he says you're waiting the counting, but then immediately I was done. One of the party monitors noted that the General Secretary has alerted them that they've finished counting, so he's sending over the final results to the Electoral Commission headquarters here. They'll add it to this, and then they'll just move to the NDC headquarters for the formality, really, just to announce that John Mahama has secured the. I'm interested to look at the exact percentage, yes, that he secured, because if you're looking at Kojo Bongsu's 3,173. That's pretty minute in the bigger scheme of things, where John Mahama is in 296,550. So that definitely should be about 99%. So we'll see where this event, when Obuasi West comes in.
We're all waiting for you to say, but it looks like the word is not coming out of you. It's just one constituency or polling station that is left with. What does that mean? Over to you, bang, bang, bang.
At this point, it's statistically impossible for Kojo Bongsu to win the race. And so John Dramani Mahama is definitely the flag bearer elect for the NDC. We're waiting for the formality.
Waiting for the percentages.
Yes, to be put out very soon. But I wonder where John Mahama is right now. Whether he's, of course, I'm sure he has Obuasi West by now, and what he'll be thinking tonight. Obviously, he knew this was going to be the outcome. Maybe as of yesterday morning, he wasn't certain, but in the evening when the Dokamadu for pulled out, made it absolutely certain what the outcome will be. So the key questions we're asking the studio is, what will be his approach towards Kojo Bongsu and Dr. Kwabena Dufo going forward? If you watch what he's done with the other contenders in the last primary in 2019, the second in that contest was Joshua Alabi, who, by the way, also had 3,000 votes, right? 3,000 votes. That's second.
To then become one of the campaign team members.
That's the point I was driving at. He's brought in Joshua Alabi as his campaign manager. In fact, in the 2020 elections, he was again very instrumental, and now he's such a pillar by his side in the campaigns. He actually was the one who returned his forms when he's filed it for him, right? So is there a signal, for example, to what he may do with Kojo Bongsu? But also remember that after that poll in 2019, everybody also contested against him, particularly Joshua Alabi. He was very jovial about the defeat. I remember we covering this, and he was saying that, he was given John Mahama taking the World Cup, he was showing his true level. He made it jovial, he made it fun. He didn't take it to heart that he lost that match, and he made it. So it was very cordial in that aspect. So maybe he lent himself to this good relationship going forward. We haven't seen the same integration of, say, Phil Gabra, who, of course, that campaign was also very, very strong for him, and he was, bitterly campaigning then. But before this poll, he issued a statement endorsing John Mahama, right? So we don't know how but that for me is important, how he treats Kojo Bongsu. Consider one of the reports that we did in the build-up. Kojo Bongsu in that report said John Mahama is damaged good. He's lost his last start. The NDC MPP has figured him out. Very strong words were used, but that was in the heat of the campaign. But then the big question is, Dr. Kwabena Dufo, what do you do with him? Considering that he has a strong following in the Ashanti region, and the
figures that we saw coming in
from the Ashanti region, and he himself believes that this Ashanti region is their stronghold, and it is. And the NDC has never really won in national elections if they don't cross more than 20% in the Ashanti region. They need the Ashanti region. What will he do with Kwabena Dufo is a big question. Would he bring him into his fold? The smart argument is you bring him into your fold. Find a place for him in your campaign. If you want to just deploy him to Ashanti region to campaign for you, you do that. Because Ashanti region, they take care of their own, right? Because chances are whoever wins the MPP elections will have a running mate from the Ashanti region, right? That's hugely expected. So you also want somebody from there, especially if John Dramani Mahama decides to still go with Professor Jinano Pokwajiman, who is coming from the
likely. Is it still likely?
I mean, Inusa Fuseni believes that's the most likely outcome, that she will be retained. If that's the case, then you definitely will need another store from Ashanti region between Kojo Bonsu and between Dr. Kwabena Duffuor. As far as the Ashanti regional roots are concerned, you say Dr. Kwabena Duffuor has a bit more stronger in the Ashanti region, and so definitely you cannot leave him out of this contest if you really want to present a united front and get the Ashanti regional vote. I don't know, what do you think? But that's what I believe.
Yeah, I think that's it. The thing is that Kojo Bonsu, and you might even want to add them together. If you make one the leader and one supporting him in Ashanti region, if you do that, you will really get what you deserve. Dr. Duffuor is well resourced. His route is there. Kojo Bonsu is also well resourced. The roots are there. So I think that he should find a way to team them up. If you want to break the MPP dominance in Ashanti region, take the two forces together. Ask them that it's your duty to win Ashanti region. And I'm sure they can.
Is this dominance breakable by the NDC in the Ashanti region, or you would want to just break even and then, get into the numbers and reduce the wins of the MPP in the Ashanti region?
Politics or election is a numbers game. You're not going to say you're going to break even with them, but at least go get some of them, like they did in the Volta region and in the northern part of the country. Go get some of the numbers, and that would also complement the numbers you get from elsewhere, and could probably help you win.
Well, this issue about Dr. Kwabena Duffuor and the late withdrawal and the effects that it had on Duffuor Jr. and then the uncle in Setre, because this particular issue has come up and is very topical. People said the sins of the father should not have been visited on the son, but it appears that happened. Is that not the case?
It did, but also because you had a Duffuor's cousin also as the incumbent. So what it meant was that the two of them, the Duffuor's Jr. and his uncle, were dividing the front, and then they sort of split their votes. So it's the reason why Nafisa won the elections, because she really wasn't in the reckoning, but she took advantage of the division in the delegates' vote that was shared between the incumbent and.
Just blessed, or she took advantage of it?
No, of course. I mean, she was just, it just dropped on it into her laps, really. Nobody gave her a dog's chance, right? So she managed to knock out the incumbent, but I only did that because of the Duffuor family feud, which played into their hands. Because before now, Duffuor Senior has been supporting, Mr. Adomako Mensah as the incumbent as his cousin. He calls him his brother. In Ashanti region, his brother is the thing they say, and he is, right? And all of a sudden he backs his son there. So the family front has been split. Delegates were again split. Okay, so that's why Nafisa has won in that particular constituency. Definitely, the Duffuor Jr. He's really suffered as a result of this, right? And my argument had been a better way possibly would have been Duffuor Senior and Duffuor Jr. should have found a way of negotiating an exit for Domako, who would have said, I was not going to contest anymore, and then back Duffuor Jr. in that contest. Normally that's how it's done, especially when you're coming from the same family, right? But obviously that wasn't. Now, maybe they proposed to him and he said no, and they said, okay, we're going to try and unseat you. But whatever happens, the Duffuor Jr. has lost. I don't see how he comes back if he really has.
Being as an independent candidate?
Oh, that'll be suicidal. I mean, first of all, he didn't have a political career. This was the beginning of a political career. So in effect, his political career has been terminated before he could actually take off, right? Because I really don't see.
Blame the father for this.
No, I think he miscalculated. He miscalculated in his suit against the party. Either he should have gone all the way or not started it at all. right? And then he started it and then he withdrew it at some point. You know, at that point it was okay, but I was thinking if you were withdrawing it, then you must have done some deal. You don't just withdraw a case like that without, he didn't do a deal, obviously. If he did a deal, I'd have done a deal with his son, right? And say, get a party folks to help him win elections. Obviously that didn't happen. And then he in the evening withdrew from the race. Again, you don't withdraw from a race after, in this last minute, unless you're doing a deal. That again also he didn't do.
What would have been the ideal deal? You say earlier we're interacting on it. I'll come to you on it. But what would you say would be the ideal?
Your son is in the race, and he flew there this morning to go and support him. We have visuals of him walking with his son and telling reporters that my son will win. That you only say that when you've done a deal. Don't do a deal with the party in John Mahama to say, look, make sure my son wins his elections. Right? Mahama has a total control, as we say, has total absolute control.
You know? Just a day.
Well, but still, the party. Why do you think that in some countries they haven't held elections? The party still believe they have somebody they prefer will win the election. They will do anything, no matter. It can happen. The delegates are loyal now to John Mahama. So imagine if John Mahama and Sir Nketia are on the same page on getting Dufour Jr. to win. This is politics. The willing deal that will happen overnight to get that. In fact, you know that in elections, it's overnight into the elections that things really happen. So they have enough time to turn this around, and he didn't do that, and that is a tragedy. I as for the son, I don't know. I mean, if he if he really had political ambitions, this has really thrown a big dent in that ambition. I don't know how he revives that going forward.
There was one key thing Brace and I were talking about earlier about what is the talk in the Dufour home as we speak. I'm sure you've been trying to find some answers to that. What would Dufour Jr. be telling Uncle, and what will Uncle and Dufour Jr. be telling Dufour Sr.?
I think Dufour Jr. will probably tell Senior, you caused my defeat. The thing is that there was a wrong calculation from the beginning. I don't know who advised them. Because if you have your uncle as the MP, you don't go and push him out of parliament. You've grown up in Accra. Look for somewhere. You have the resources. Accra you could have had it easily. Yeah? But to go and push your uncle out, today you're out, your uncle is out. So you didn't get your father to... So really, like he said, I'm sure the Dufour thing is cut off now. Who's going to come from there? So it's going to be a blame game, I think, from the beginning, and then they will find their way out too. But this will probably create a disaffection in the family for some time. It depends on how they handle it, but I think the uncle will not forgive the Dufour's senior and junior for what they've done. So it depends on how they handle it, but it's going to be tough. Just that they got it so wrong. And I wonder why they did that. You could have spoken to people who could have really advised you, look, I'm not sure going to that place is right. Because I don't know how his relationship with the constituency is like. So if it's not too tight and your uncle is there, let him maintain it and you fight for somewhere in Accra. Or even in, his father has another constituency in Ashanti region. Is it Kumewu? There's he could have rather gone there, not go and challenge you, because if you do that, everybody will go like, but if your uncle is there and you are coming, then these people they are not one. There's a reason why the cousin want to push him off, so we will not support him. So I think that from the word go, it was a bad calculation and they've really ruined themselves.
Is this the end for the Dufour family in the NDC, you'd say, or they would still have some hope?
Now it depends on John Mahama. Now it depends on John Mahama. Maybe John Mahama would like to say, bring Dufour Senior and Dufour Junior into the fold again somehow, because he needs them for next year in Ashanti region. You know, politics sometimes can be a game of convenience. Because I need them, let me find something for them to do. So if he takes a view that I don't need them, I think they're done, really. I think they're done until maybe GM leaves the scene and they want to. But it's difficult. You know, Supposed makes a point, and I think to see his point that you remember before the 2020 elections, in the conversations around who becomes JM's running mate, Dufour Senior was in a running. He was in the running till very end. It was him, it was Nana, it was Professor Boche, who were being talked about strongly as possible, candidate. And many people thought Dufour Senior was, because of Ashanti Regional ticket again. And I know many around him, maybe not himself, but many around him lobbied for that position. I was on radio one day doing analysis on it, but people were lobbying me around this campaign, sending me materials, trying to push me. These were senior people. And so Inusa was suggesting that possibly his end game in contesting, just like Kojo Bonsu, is to finish the contest, but finish it with enough votes at least to lay claim to the running mate position going forward, right? And probably that's why he did this. That's why he did all this, to try and position himself as that. That's why I'm saying it all comes down to John Mahama now. But
that was part of the bargain leading to the withdrawal of this particular suit.
Well, it's possible. It's possible that was part of. Maybe he did that bargain and not for his son. Maybe he did the bargain for himself. Maybe he did a bargain for himself, running May next year, but he didn't add the son to the equation. I don't know, but we'll find out very soon what deal was done, if at all. I doubt if any was happened. But again, also because of how this whole shoot thing played out, and the anger among the grassroots about the way that happened. The JM team now began to use that in the campaigns against him. And these are 300,000 plus delegates. How would they respond to him if John Mahama attempts to even bring him back? I think that's another thing that John Mahama will have to weigh. Has he damaged his relationship with the NDC grassroots so bad with all that they won't accept anything Dufour anymore? And I think for me that's a big thing. That's a bigger point. Because if the grassroots now don't want to hear Dufour at all, any Dufour Senior, Dufour Junior, that really is the end of it for me. Because nobody, no matter how powerful you are, even if it's John Mahama, you don't want to annoy these 300,000 people who have given you the overwhelming victory. You need them going forward. You need to forgive Dr. Sriboko.
He has to do his work. We have invaded his office.
Yes, as he crossed the camera here. So forgive him as he crossed him. We'll try and grab him against our conversation, so it's pardoned. But that for me is what be key. The delegates' reaction to this. That's why I didn't quite like the idea when they added Dufour's votes to reject it. If they had put it aside, they would have seen who were people, the numbers still voting for him, although they knew he had withdrawn. That would have given us a sense of, but now they've added it there, so it's all mixed up in the rejected, so you can't tell. But so far, what's the total rejected? Again, we
don't have the total for rejected yet, but it was being separated. We're counting the first vote until the EC got the official communication that he had withdrawn, so they can't.
But John Mahama's vote style is overwhelming, right? So which means that the delegates have overwhelmingly said, we don't want you. So any attempt.
Do you think that if we should have had the Dufour thing calculated and added to the entire vote, John Mahama could be making his 99%? It could. No. I'm not sure he could.
Yes.
It would have brought it down. So he's getting 99 because Dufour pulled out. So maybe they should do a broader analysis using the pink sheets to know
the Dufour effect in all this for him. That's what he's thinking, that John Mahama should rethink about just throwing Dufour away and not weighing his weight and then the impact that he also has when it comes to all this and the grassroots. You think that's
I think a far more careful analysis will have to be done. And anybody who, because the Dufour question is a complex question now because of the potential reaction of the grassroots. You really want to test that pulse, even if you want to bring them in before you do it, because then if you don't do it properly in the grassroots, they will begin to react. NDC grassroots, they are one of the most unforgiving grassroots you can find. When they turn on you, they turn on you, and everybody knows that. So that for me will be a calculation. They need to disaggregate the numbers and see, okay, so how.
whilst you speak, I see Obuasi West. What we've been waiting for is there now. So it's right there on the screen. John Dramani Mahama had 1,053. So what we've been waiting for is here. Kojo Bonsu has 8. We are both bespectacled, but okay. So just when we're doing that, it's just gone off. But Obuasi West is in. So it means that we'll be getting ready to move to the NDC headquarters. If that's what we've been waiting for, I think the moment is finally here. And I see that packing is being done. All the papers from all the 277 constituencies or polling stations is being gathered right here. You were asking earlier about why we have 277. I'm sure some are also wondering why that is. You know that there was a polling station that was created at the NDC headquarters for persons in the diaspora, former executives, and then also National Executive Council members to vote at the NDC headquarters. That's one that gives it the 277. And then also SAL has also been created in the NDC, for which reason we have 277. So as we speak, we have all 277 results here at the election strong room. And shortly, I think it's moments after midnight, 48 minutes. I thought it was just about 5 minutes after midnight. So it's 12:48 as we speak, and it looks like all is set for the final declaration. And we see footages earlier also from the NDC headquarters, and the stage is set. Before we left there, we realized that he has set up a stage. I'm sure they were not hoping that it will go deep into the night so that the party could have begun, but it appears that we'll have to put the party on hold. So you can see on the screen there, all is set at the NDC headquarters, all draped in all the colors of the NDC, awaiting this particular declaration from the Electoral Commission. Were you hoping that this was going to go this long?
No, absolutely not. I mean, when we were planning for 9. You speak to the party people themselves. So, yeah. I mean, yesterday when Mustafa Gbande was there, said they were planning by 6, later by 7, they were done. And we said, we just added 2 more extra hours, so just to wrap up. And here we are, almost 1 a.m. and we are not anywhere near completion yet, because the EC will have to move here and drive physically. Thankfully, it's just at the Barca. So it's literally like 5 minutes drive from here. Elting and Blessed are standing by. They will take over from here once we hand over. But no, I didn't expect it to be at 1 a.m. The last time they did this in 2019, by 9, it was done. It was done. I mean, so I'm wondering what... I honestly can't figure out why this is delayed.
Because they didn't...
process couldn't have affected.
No, they didn't dispatch the things earlier.
From the studio. But very few constituencies delayed. Asawase was one. I mean, Obuasi was same, because the materials arrived late, But there were very few that delayed because of the delay in the dispatch of the materials. And also, I mean, but if that's if knowing what that is, it can't be the difference between the 1 p.m. and the 9 p.m. the last time. I honestly have no idea why this is dragged this long.
Maybe the numbers are, yeah. So the numbers could be.
Whilst we wait then, also I realized you were having that interesting discussion, but we couldn't quite catch all, for those who couldn't catch it, the issue about the casualties that have been recorded so far. From all this, at least by now, everybody knows their smoothness level. It's only the official results we are waiting for the presidential, but for the parliamentary, by now, if you do not know your smoothness level, then I'm really wondering the casualties. I'm sure you have a few of the names, and then we can go through them briefly as Dr. Sriboko.
Edward Bauer is really a shocking one for me. And we're going to miss ABA for saying it.
Do you have a favorite proverb? I can give you one. They say if someone dies in the market, there's no need announcing it because he's already in the marketplace. So that's one that I remember. The other one, I'm not sure if it is TV friendly, but these are some of the proverbs.
For me, so these two, I mean, Edward Bauer especially. I think his contribution to the mines and energy sector was really huge, and we're going to miss that. I don't know why. I don't know why they are losing that much, but the rest should probably set up and tend to build the relationship between themselves and the constituent. Maybe that is why this is happening. Yeah.
Interesting. I know Sam George won the seat, but do you really think that he was actually giving a run for his money by quitting? You've been watching.
Oh, it wasn't a run for his money at all. I mean, this was easy because of the gap and the results, quite significant gap. So he won this handsomely. We're talking about casualties. The biggest one for me, Dr. Kwabena Donko in Pro East. Former power minister, a leader in Parliament on Employment Committee, as the chair. He lost. For everybody who cares to know, he was one of the rebels in the NDC when the decision was taken to vote against the newly appointed ministers. Exactly. I'd said that because of his relationship. I think that's a huge factor in there. And then also, when the party decided to change the leadership in Parliament, he was one of those who, among the minority caucus, had pushed the argument that they should not recognize that they are two forcing-led, leaders until the party had come to console them in Parliament. So he's been a rebel on some of these issues, and I think, and also because in his constituency, a lot of the people who voted, and some of the delegates are those who filed a petition against it because he was acting in an anti-party manner. This definitely has been a punishment. I think this is the delegates.
The delegates in the NDC don't forgive.
No, they don't. And I think the delegates have become very politically astute. They're very sophisticated. In Asawase, when Muntaka won, our correspondent there, Nana Yaojima, was speaking to some of the female delegates who one widow and just parties hangers on who have become delegates. They were speaking Tree, so they started speaking Hausa and they said, "Can you speak Tree?" And they spoke Tree. But her analysis was spot on. She was looking at the bigger picture. She said, and we actually done an analysis with the numbers earlier in the day. She said Muntaka Mubarak is still based on from the last elections, so the only person who can deliver them the votes next year. He's won this seat for so long. He still shows that he can still bring all the numbers to the table. So they didn't see why they should vote against him. And it's true. Muntaka Mubarak, all the many years he's been in Parliament, last year was the highest performance yet in elections. His best performance was last year. So he's on the up. Why do you want to remove him? And that was analysis that a delegate, a woman widow, was making. That tells you how sophisticated they are. That even if, and everybody knew, the system wanted him out, right? But the delegates say, in a bigger scheme of things, we don't think that's the thing. That's the thing that will serve the best interest of the party. And maybe if delegates were that astute all the time, they will save the parties from themselves. Remember what happened to the NPP in the last elections, where they manipulated the process so much. The president, for example, a classic case was the case of the second deputy speaker. The president went to his constituency and said he can't work with him because the man won't step aside, and decided to go independent. Remember that, right? Eventually he won, and he had to now deal with him, right? I'm saying if the delegates, in spite of that, would have said to themselves, in any case, in fact, the delegates, not the delegates, and then it wasn't presidential contest that he won, but in the primary, if the delegates had insisted that they were going to reject the president's choice, they would have avoided the challenge they had in Parliament, right? So, but this is shown us that the delegates are absolutely wise now, and they see. Look at the case of the Idrissa Jojumase, the woman who was spraying the cash and standing on an open top vehicle and just throwing the money and etc. She lost. She lost. They took the money.
Surprising,
Absolutely, she lost. Not only then, here in Greater Accra, one of the other aspirants came to the polling station with a truck full of rice. Right, we have that on. We analyzed that, and he put his posters around it, draped it, and came and packed it, and then they removed the covering on voting day today. So when you vote, he did an exit poll. So the exit poll was rice. So when you vote, you come and then you take your rice and you go huge bags of rice packed there. He also lost, right? he also lost. You know, so the delegates have become pretty astute. They know what they want, and you can spend all the money that you want in this world. They'll take the money and vote against you. The NDC delegate has shown us that.
Well, we're still here at the EC headquarters, and I don't know what's keeping us at this point. The EC team is still yet to move from here to the NDC headquarters for the final results. And I see that the tension is getting heated a bit in here. Some misunderstanding in the background between the agents of John Dramani Mahama and the Electoral Commission. At least their weight is becoming a bit more stressful for all of us, those watching at home and those here. So, but from what we see ahead of us in terms of the screen, I was itching to see Evans go on the wall, the video wall in the EC strong room to break down some of the numbers that you're seeing on there for us, so you're still familiarizing yourself. It would be bad to see you hit the video wall in the EC strong room.
The numbers now aren't interesting because it's John Mahama. You know, this is what it is.
Like Super said, it's a friendly game, so there's nothing.
It's not interesting at all. I mean, so, but I can see in the background there's some misunderstanding of,
John Dramani Mahama. So I think it's the issue about figures and why declaration is not being done. So that's basically what's happening here. And I'm sure people are also itching to know what's keeping the results, because once we are here, they are hoping that we'll see the results being.
What's happening is reconciliation. The EC has theirs; they have the final one, but they want to reconcile with the party's agents before they move to the party headquarters. But I really don't know what the confusion, because a lot of the results now they've gotten from the NDC.
Exactly.
You know.
Why is the process always this slow? It's something that I've been wondering. You've been covering elections for how long? What really delays the process the way it does?
I think it's mistrust. So people don't trust the only reason why NDC say they are using the EC, because they're not mandated on this one, is because if they do it themselves, people will say somebody's manipulating the process, so bring the EC into the equation. So that mistrust has always led to some unnecessary delays. Complaints are baseless, but the person will make it anyway because he doesn't trust the other person doing it, and then that then becomes a long, drawn-out process, such as you're witnessing right now. Behind us, you may not hear because you're speaking to the microphone, but there's a heated debate between the Director of Electoral Services and the party's own reps on reconciliation. Meanwhile, the results have come in, right? I mean, and you're wondering, this is unnecessary because John Mahama has won this hands down.
And also for the EC sometimes, because this is a political party they're dealing with. You would think that it's because of time, you would want to reduce the process and sidestep the process for them. Only in the end, they will then come back with pink sheets to prove to you that maybe something went wrong. What then does the EC do? So they have to go through the entire process. So reconciliation is currently being done, and maybe we can just listen a bit to the reconciliation process. We could just pick it up.
So the EC says they have 98.8 something. The party says they have 98.6. So now the NDC says, okay, you can go ahead and use your figure because we are getting less than you are quoting. So it's interesting.
Okay, so the EC and the parties always find a way around it. So at least I think now we have a consensus. Would you want to check on Dr. Stribo Kweku now to let us know? Okay.
So I think that it's settled now. I think that was a percentage thing has now been resolved. The Stribo is going through the final checklist. And then they'll head to the EC. I think that should be resolved now. I think
the signings are underway. Signing the final, coalition sheet as the returning officer for this particular election, which is the presidential election, and also the parliamentary primaries for the NDC. So where we are now.
So you see why that one of the NDC monitors here said 99. It was a 99.
It has to have.
It was a 99. It was a 99. So that's why the percentage became an issue a short while ago, because EC says it was 98.6.
8, and theirs was 90.
You just round the figure up. When you round it up, at least from the statistics we know.
But for the optics, it's a 99, you know.
Once it's beyond 5, most people would want it to round it up so that they can get the 99. But the EC has to go with the figures that they have.
So which is where this is where the fight has been, but they've resolved it now. They are big boys. It's been resolved. But I'm interested that the party had set up this stage there, and if I'm right, the backdrop has the 3 presidential aspirants. I thought it would take.
Sure, the banner was already printed.
Exactly. That's what we said.
For what?
There are a lot of photos today. Who's going to print? It was already printed. Let's put it there.
New town is working.
Oh no! I think we will waste money to go and print a new thing when we can make do with it. So I think that's what it is. But this thing started in the morning, you know, and then it's been done. It was done around 3 p.m. We've been waiting.
Mr. Fagbande said the party was hoping that those would have been over by at least 6, 7 thereabout, because I know that they had brought food, drinks, amongst others, to the party headquarters. I'm sure it was going to be a mini party after the declaration. But as we speak, we've been checking with my colleagues on the ground. It doesn't look like party faithful are massing up there like we expected earlier because of the time, I guess. But when the stage was set, because previously this is not how the declaration was done. It was done in the conference room up there, so we're hoping that it was just going to be a simple thing. Then we saw the stage being mounted whilst we're there. Then we saw that no, this is going to be.
John Mahama is winning. We won't hide him anywhere. We are bringing him out.
What's
the stage for?
So it was supposed to be for all the optics, the speeches, the pomp and pageantry, hoping that it would have ended earlier.
The participants would have come there to deliver a speech.
Really. We've been trying to find out, but I'm sure it was for the speeches.
The reason why Evans's question is so important as well. Now we are learning the winner wouldn't be there. I'm sure they knew he was not going to be here. Well, maybe they did it for the executive because the chairman went around on his back.
What I checked with the communications team, for instance, they mentioned that earlier, the last one was done in the conference room up there, which was not spacious enough, they say, because of the numbers they were expecting, and then hoping that the time they were going to finish. So they wanted it outdoor in the car park so that everybody can have a feel of what is going to happen, so we don't all cram ourselves up in the conference room. That was the thinking behind, setting it outside, but up to getting a stage and also that everybody can have a view of it. That's the communication that I got in terms of the explanation for this. But I'm not sure they were hoping that it will go as late as it's gone. But I'm told that the chairman is there at the NDC headquarters. We have the general secretary also there. But we know now that John Dramani Mahama will not be there. But at least we have the party.
Surprises are sent.
You never know.
The
era of private jets and choppers.
Asidu Nketia. In the morning he was in his home region. Then he went to Western North. And he's in Accra. I'm like, hey, is he using a jet or something? But yeah, so maybe the president can, former president can even pull a surprise on us.
These days you can hire a helicopter from the national.
There are private jets and all this. So we never know what could happen. So from now up until when Dr. Srebo Kweku and his team departs the election strong room all the way to the NDC headquarters, which is just...
So what he's doing now is filling in the declaration form, which is what Dr. Srebo Kweku is doing behind us. So he's filling the declaration form. Once that is done, he takes it to the party headquarters and then he goes to read it out. So literally in the next 2 minutes, that should be wrapped up. And then that then happens at the party headquarters. He's going to move with his entourage, I guess. The parties, we can hand over to our colleagues who are already standing by to wrap this up. I mean, there's no way you can start. When I was, we sort of, do the transition with Yusuf Husseini, we haven't had the final declaration of the presidential elections. So you can't wrap it up. The other media houses have just long gone. Of course,
that's why you are the election headquarters.
That's the point. You can't call yourself election headquarters and not see it through, right? So we have to stay to see you through. It's painful, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's fun, actually. It is. It is fun.
Standing on your feet. I'm be honest here. It's painful to stand on your feet, and I don't know where we find the energy. Honestly, it's just amazing. I mean, for me and Winston, we had started this yesterday.
From election eve happened. So and it didn't just start yesterday for you and the team. It started way earlier than that. From recruitment. This is your recruitment general.
Oh, yeah. And this is a new experience for me. I think when I was in Takrady, I was doing recruitment for just a region. But now you're doing for the whole country, and it's taught me something. And I've learned a lot from Evans, because when he called me this morning, I knew he didn't leave the studio early, but he called me and I was like, "Are you okay? Is everything all right?" I was like, "Hey man, this guy."
The energy from you have a juice pack or something that you just.
I mean, like it's one of our power. But that's the thing, right? It's the people watch us, and I'm sure many people are also watching us and I wonder. But I saw you guys on TV in the morning, right? I guess you have to also I guess when spare a thought for the Electoral Commission as well, right? They've been at yesterday distributing materials very late, and then starting early today, and they're still here. They're going to make So if they are doing it, you can't do otherwise. Except that we don't end when they end. We have to continue a bit more, because now they're going to declare when they finish. We have to wrap up. We have to exactly and all that. But it just has to be done. Somebody must do it. And we say we are election quarters. We must do it.
We've earned it. Actually, we don't just call ourselves the election headquarters. At least we will work to be the election headquarters, and that's what we just do. So that's where we draw the energy from, to be able to serve you wherever you are around the world. So it looks like it's time.
Yeah, so we'll just explain what you're seeing behind us. Everybody's standing because the NDC's main agent has now signed the declaration sheet, and as you see, Cerebral Kwaku is on his feet now. So they're not going to be moving with the declaration sheet now. Yeah, we should. So the declaration sheet is now being torn by Cerebral Kwaku, and that's what he takes to the NDC headquarters for the declaration there. So that's it. We're going to be wrapping up here. Yes, they're leaving. Yes, he says he's not going to. He's already served us notice. He's not going to be commenting on the declaration sheet he signed, because he has been contracted by the National Democratic Congress. So they must see the final outcome before anybody else does. And so, although we've seen, and that's why they deliberately have left the one constituency out, and that has been inputted, obviously, and they're taking it to the party headquarters now. Okay, so what do we know, though?
Yes, so we have the final, that's the final declaration of results. There's the sheet, and John Dramani Mahama had 297,603. That's what we have. And then elected, so he's elected. We have Kojo Bonsu with 3,181. That's what we have. So total valid votes is 300,784. Total rejected, which you've been looking for, is 4,653. That's what we have when it comes to rejected. Then the total votes in the box is 305,437, and this is signed by Dr. Cerebral Kwaku, who is the returning officer for this particular election, and then Daniel Amate Mensah, who is the director of elections for the NDC, and Dr. Cerebral Kwaku, okay, we are not declaring anything. Yes, please. Thank you, Doc. Exactly. So, Dr. Cerebral Kwaku then giving us details, instructions of what to do. So, should we catch a word from you before you depart to the NDC headquarters? Those watching you are waiting to hear.
Everything has been successful. That's all. Everything has been successful.
So, we are waiting for the declaration. So, that's Dr. Cerebral Kwaku heading out now to Adabraka. And we would have to hold the audience a bit till they get to Adabraka for the final declaration. Just 5 minutes away. You live around here, so
Oh yeah,
if you were to choose the route for Dr. Sribokwe,
oh, he just comes out and then it turns on his left, and he goes towards the asylum, the psychiatric hospital, and then he goes past the cathedral, and then he goes all the way to Kojo Thompson Road, and then he would turn left as if he's going to Roxy Cinema. Just
man is lost.
Roxy Cinema.
He didn't even know the way to the Electoral Commission.
Just before the Roxy Cinema, there's a set of traffic lights. He will stop and wait for the green light, and then turn, and then make a left turn, and then that takes him right in front of the NDC headquarters, because that road is a one-way, so he can't come the other way. So that's the only way he can go. That is literally 2 minutes. 2 minute stops. So that's it.
You really know Adabraka. This guy didn't know Electoral Commission.
No, I would have lost everybody who's watching us. But I think we have to spare a word for our reporters. Oh, they've done some yeoman job today. Mm-hmm. Without them, I'm not sure we would have been able to do this. So, all our reporters, grateful for the service they've rendered to Mother Ghana. And I think our viewers are also the reason why we're here. We always feel, sort of a duty to serve them. And I think that's where we draw our energy from. The fact that we are not sleeping and we are standing here is because we
sleep today, so you need to. He didn't sleep today. Oh. I have videos of him sleeping from the previous assignment you sent us on. He was sleeping on the job. Oh. So today he did not sleep. So we're happy.
I didn't sleep. I dozed off. There's a difference between sleeping and dozing off. I dozed off. I didn't sleep.
He was dozing on the job. So when are we having our next encounter? At least, what's the next item on the agenda for the election headquarters?
I mean, the MPP primaries. So they are having 4 primaries. Goodness me. Then you have the super delegates first, which is to trim down to 5. And then we'll have the primary itself in November. And then we'll have the parliamentary primary for orphan constituencies. And they'll have the parliamentary primaries for where they have sitting members of parliament. So that's a long roadmap. And each of them requires the same amount, the same intensity for us. Every election is an election worth covering, and so we're not going to be sparing any effort in covering it. Although it's 4, we're covering everything with the same amount of energy and vigor. So there's a lot of this year is going to be a long year, and then immediately you enter into next year, there will be one more primary because I think it goes into the next year, and then you start preparing for the December of next year.
Which starts for you like June, July.
So this is a very unique next, few months into next year, December. So we have to find a way of preparing for the general elections at the same time as the primaries at the same time. But what it is that it's testing the systems, right? Because it actually offers a good opportunity to test all the systems we're going to be put in place for next year. Because the primaries then is almost, because it's national. This is national, so it's replicating and is very close to what the national elections will be. Then you know where your gaps are, and then you can put things in place, readiness for the main one.
We are made for this, so we are ready for it. You've been talking about the reporters on the ground that you all deployed to get this to happen. We can't also leave out our camera technicians, those who are behind the cameras, those who are directing and making things happen, the drivers, the makeup artists, those even provided us food, amongst others. We need to say thank you to all of them. Without them, this wouldn't have been possible. Let's not forget the security detail. Also today, deployment from the Ghana Police Service. We've been talking about the electoral commissioners and the work that they've done. But without security, we've heard everyone say that it was even free. Security was on point. At least at the NDC headquarters, deployment was done very, very early, and amongst others. So we would have to, we don't have to forget to say thank you also to security, and then how a deployment was done today, and the kind of security that we receive. At least, I don't know if you had any events in, security situation that we had in any of these, polling stations. We're ready to go to the NDC headquarters. It looks like it's a good time. Maybe a final word from you, then we can go to the NDC.
I mean, I'm just looking forward to hearing what happens because it's at the stage there. Maybe John Mahama will show up. Maybe, I don't know. So I'm waiting to see. And thankfully, we have a strong team there too that will take over from here. So don't go yet because the team on the ground at NDC headquarters will bring you the very latest.
So that's how we wrap up from the EC headquarters. Some of the brief. I'm sure that at this point we have to go. And then the head of the political desk, our leader that has made this all happen, Evans Mensah. I am MFA Apau. I hand over now to Blessed Sugar and Elton Brobe at the NDC headquarters for the final declaration. Many thanks for being a part of our coverage of the NDC Presidential and Parliamentary Primaries.
And thanks to Evans Mensah, to MFR Powell and Samuel Kujobrace, who brought you all of the action from the strong room of the Electoral Commission. This is the election headquarters. You're live on Joy News. And where we are now is the headquarters of the National Democratic Congress. It's been a hectic exercise today with the party organizing its presidential and parliamentary primaries from across all 276 plus one areas or centers where, of course, delegates of the party had to cast their ballots to decide who would be the next set of leaders to represent the NDC, both at the parliamentary level and the presidential. The exercise is culminating in the announcement that we're likely to see in a few hours from now here by the EC, where we understand that the EC has already dispatched his team from the headquarters and they'll be making their way to the headquarters any moment from now. It's been a long day for members of the committee as well, who have worked tirelessly to pull this organization and this event together. So there'll be a need for us to interact with some of the leading figures of the NDC who are here with us, especially the chairperson of the committee who's here, Lawyer Kakra Esamwa, who will be joining the Electoral Commission officials to do the announcements in a few minutes from now. We'll be interacting with him shortly. He'll be giving us a sense of how the exercise went on today, but there's a need for us to also hear about what's going to happen any moment from now. And Lawyer Kakra Esamwa, thank you for talking to us here on Joy News. It's been a very long night for the NDC. How would you describe the exercise?
I think it has been very successful, and we are grateful to all the supporters across the country who came out in their thousands on our invitation to vote for our parliamentary aspirants and our presidential candidate. So it's been a very good day.
Some constituencies, we understand, were not able to complete their exercise today. Is that what's delaying the announcement, the final announcement of the presidential?
That is exactly what happened. That is why we have taken so long to be here.
What official reports are you getting from the ground?
Oh, I'm told that the commencement was not according to the original schedule, and also some when they started the voting, then it started raining heavily, so they had to stop until the rain went down a little bit before they resumed. And these are some of the factors that may have caused the delay. But happily, within a very short time, we'll come to the very end of this program.
Will that change the plan you originally set out for this days that we have here, where, of course, you see the pictures of John Mahama, Dr. Dufour, and Kojo Bonsu? Has that plan changed?
Nothing will change. The program we are going to have, we do not expect any of them to be here because we were told that none of them is in Accra. If they are able to be here within the next few minutes, that's fine, but nothing has changed. We are waiting for the EC to come and make the formal declaration, and that is, we call it a day.
What are the next steps from now, and what is the party going to do as part of
this one? The executives will meet, look at everything, and then we'll design the next steps and share it with you.
You've been seeing some of the results also come through. Are you shocked or surprised? You've been seeing some of the results come through as well. Are you, the parliamentary as well?
I'm surprised that some MPs lost their seats because we have come to love all of them. But it's a competition. You can win or lose. Some have lost. What can we do? But they are still our brothers and sisters. So be it.
And party unity will be crucial going into the 2024 elections. What measures are you putting in place as a committee?
So that we have ample time to paper over all the cracks and make sure that we have one solid, comprehensive team with which we'll fight the battle in December 2024.
So are you open to any candidate, any individual that may have concerns and may want to reach out to the party? Are there some maybe platforms that you've created as a party to listen to these groups?
You have several levels of structures that deal with these things. For example, the Council of Elders is formally a reconciliation committee. Whenever there are problems, they come in. You don't even invite them. When they hear, they come in. So it's there already. And then for this particular process, we actually set up another one so that they go and drill down to particular constituencies, particular personalities. So we think that if there is any problem, we should be able to deal with it within a very short time after this.
Especially at the presidential level, you would require that all those who have contested will throw their weight behind the victor. Do you see that happening?
I don't think that there will be any problem. None of them have said that they are no more members of the NDC. And as members of the NDC, they have a duty to support the programs and the personalities we choose to execute those programs. I am sure they will come aboard.
You are a lawyer as well, so I'm sure that you're aware, of course, looking at the lawsuits coming through, and I was just wondering what was going through your mind when it was all happening.
And even though we may belong to the same family, there may be friction, there may be divisions, but as time goes on, we learn to live together, even within our differences. I have been in this business for quite a long time. It is unfortunate it came, because it gave the impression that we were not ready. Well, we have smoothed over the cracks, and we are here today.
So what would be your message to the grassroots out there, those who support the NDC?
As I said much earlier this evening, this is a very fair step for selecting the government that will replace this useless administration for Kufuor and Bawumia in 2024. So with this, let us start taking the big steps towards the Flagstaff House, January 2025.
And there you have it, the Director of Electoral Services for the Electoral Commission, Dr. Sribo Kweku, in your shots there, exchanging pleasantries with leading members of the NDC, particularly those who are members of the Elections Management Committee of the National Democratic Congress. So you see there, Lawyer Kakrai Samoa, Ambassador Sampiale, and the former sports Minister Elvis Ankara are all waiting now for the official declaration of the results that we have so far. The indication we're getting from the Electoral Commission is that the results that have been collated so far will be declared. Some rains also, or downpour if you may want to call it, disrupted the exercise in one of the constituencies, and so that's led to what we're experiencing now, a delayed announcement of the results. But now it's almost set, and it is evident that John Dramani Mahama may be declared as the next leader of the party, but would have to wait a while longer for the full complement of the results to come through, and that's what we're waiting for. But in your pictures now, you have the Honorable Alex Segbefia and also the MP for Ho Central, Benjamin Kodo, having some interactions with Dr. Sribo Kweku. The chairperson of the National Democratic Congress, Johnson Asiedo Inketia, is out with the General Secretary, Fifi Fiabi Kwete, in your shots there. So you see them, of course, also exchanging pleasantries. It's been a long night for the National Democratic Congress, a reason for which I'm sure many of the leading figures are stepping out now just to listen to the Electoral Commission make that great and grand announcement, which will be crucial to the future of the largest opposition party, which says it wants to win the 2024 elections. We are live here on your election headquarters, live from the NDC headquarters, where the presidential and parliamentary primaries is about to be wrapped up with an announcement of the official results so far from the Electoral Commission. So in a few minutes from now, we'll officially know what the figures are and what the chances of all the candidates are. Stay with us here on the election headquarters.
Good evening, the National Chairman of the NDC, Good evening, my brother, the General Secretary with the Fifi Kote. Incidentally, when I was in the final year, he was in the first year. You all read economics. Fifi, is that not the case? Okay. Good evening. Hey, sorry, good morning. Good morning. I bring you greetings from the Electoral Commission. The chairperson was and the Executive Commission were with us, but got to a point they had to leave because we had gotten to an advanced stage. They would have been here, but the time. So I bring you their greetings. And I also want to say that thank you very much for the cooperation we had from the coalition agents that you brought from the party. Mr. Marty, Mr. Vanderpoel, and the rest, they gave us the needed support. In everything that we were doing, we wanted to be sure, so we were checking, cross-checking, and cross-checking. Those of you who were watching the TV at a point in time, you thought I was fighting with Mr. Marty. It was just about percentages. So he's my friend, but at a point in time, we need to argue about certain figures. I'm here with my colleagues from the head office of the commission, Mr. Emmanuel Esandigisi, Mr. Samuel Dotokwa, Mrs. Abigail Nutako Amponsa. They are my deputies, direct deputies. You have Mr. Edgar here. He's our officer, a chartered accountant in charge of our budget. Then we have Mr. Otain. He's the acting director of finance. So we are here to... Fred, why are you there? Come around. We came with Mr. Fred Tete. He's also a deputy director for research and monitoring. Now let's go to the business. We were given the task to help supervise your elections for you. It has taken it to the next day, which is Sunday, but these are the results. We have, when we are declaring results, we don't add titles, so forgive me if you think I should have added titles. We have John Dramani Mahama with 297,603. In percentage terms, it should be 98.9%. Then John Kojo Bonsu, he had 3,181. In percentage terms, it's 1.1. So we had in total 4,653 rejected ballots. The valid votes were 300,784. And the total vote cast was 305,437. On behalf of the chairperson of the commission, I duly declare His Excellency John Dramani Mahama duly elected with 98.9%. Thank you for the support, and may the good Lord bless all of us. Thank you very much.
Of the party, Honorable Fifi Fiabe Kwete.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the media, and through you to the nation at large that's been watching the events from yesterday all the way through to this morning. I want to use the opportunity to acknowledge the chairman of the party, the national executives who are here, our members of the diaspora who travel all the way to come and take part in elections, our delegates across the length and breadth of Ghana, those of them who are still up watching us, all the aspirants, and let me especially use the occasion to congratulate the winner of the presidential primaries and now declared presidential candidate or flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, who now becomes the leader of our party, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for a great victory that has been chalked. I mean, for us, this is the beginning of the journey towards 2024, and we want to assure all of our supporters across the length and breadth of the country, and also the larger population of Ghana, that we are definitely going to make sure that this is the first of a long journey towards ensuring that we salvage this country come December 7, 2024. We are going to do everything possible to ensure that the confidence that has been reposed, not just in the leadership of the party, but through this election, I mean, the confidence that has been reposed in His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, that confidence is not let to go down at all. So on behalf of the party, I want to thank all of our supporters, our members, our sympathizers, who have actually been with us through this journey, right from the time we opened nominations for presidential and parliamentary primaries, through the whole process that went through to vetting, through the appeals process, all the way through the campaigning, until the very primaries that happened yesterday, and whose result we are declaring today. I want to also use the occasion to congratulate all of the aspirants who took part, especially in the presidential elections. Honorable Kwabena Dufour, who was my own boss, a former finance minister, for the hard work that he put in. Even though he pulled out in the final moment, we still want to applaud the very effort. We want to acknowledge that it took quite a lot of hard work to have done all that has been done. We want to acknowledge him. We want to acknowledge Honorable Kojo Bonsu as well for having taken part in this election and having toured, I mean, the length and breadth of Ghana, and having taken part all the way to the very end. We want to salute them. We want to say that all the work that has been done is leading to just one thing: the victory of the NDC and the salvation that the NDC promises to bring to this country come December 7, 2024. Let me also use the occasion to salute the hard work that has gone into the parliamentary primaries and all of the candidates that emerged victorious in the parliamentary primaries. And also, the candidates that took part did their best but did not manage to win. We want to say, I mean, what is important is the victory of the NDC. And as long as the NDC works hard, there is victory for every single one of us. Not just those who have won, but also those who have tried very hard but still could not make it. All of us can still have that greater victory come December 7, 2024. And that victory is the victory that Ghana is looking forward to. We want to thank all of the delegates, every single one of them, through the effort, every effort that they have made to ensuring that we have had one of the most successful primaries as far as our party is concerned. All of you would have known the difficulties that had beset us, but we, as leaders of the party, were very determined that what is ahead of this country is so important, and these primaries are a very important indication that this party is prepared to do everything possible to ensure that victory is achieved come December 7, 2024. And we want to thank every delegate, all of our members, all of our sympathizers, all of the people of Ghana who actually wish us well. We want to thank every single one of you for being with us throughout this journey. We must say that it's been a very difficult process. As many of you will know, I mean, as at yesterday, at 5, I would say 2 days ago now, because I'm talking more Friday now, as at Friday, almost 6 p.m., we still hadn't been able to get the voting materials on their way. Now, so for us to still be able to pull that through and make sure that these voting materials reach their various destinations and ensure that we got elections starting today, yesterday now, and get results ready to be able to declare both the presidential winner and also the parliamentary winners. That clearly has been a very, very wonderful accomplishment. And as a party, we want to thank every single one of you who have supported us, who have helped us to be able to bring this result. Now, to simply signal that right after this, the real journey begins. This is the moment that we were waiting for, to have the leader of our party, to also have a good set of our parliamentary candidates. We are going to quickly now move into action to make sure we wrap up the remaining constituencies that we have not yet done. So we want to urge all of those constituencies to be in readiness, because we'll soon come out with a timetable to be able to wrap it up so that we can have the full set, and then we now can be fully ready to begin that beautiful journey that we believe that the people of Ghana expect for us to conduct towards the elections in 2024. So I want to once more thank every single one of you. Thank you, our ladies and gentlemen of the media. We want to thank the Electoral Commission for having cooperated with us, even though there were very difficult moments. As of yesterday, we had quite a bit of difficulties, but we were able to somehow resolve the problems. And at the end of the day, we've had a cooperation with them as well in order to have the result fully declared. So once more, I want to thank every single one of you. I want to invite the chairman of the party, Honorable Johnson Asiedun Ketia, to share some final words with us. Then we can call it a night after having had back-to-back work.
The victory of the NDC is coming again, and the people say, "Hey, Jobodo." The victory of the NDC is coming again, and the people say, "Hey, Jobodo." Say, "Hey, Jobodo." Say, "Hey, Jobodo." Say, "Hey, Jobodo." Say, Jobodo, and the people say, "Hey, Jobodo." Thank you very much. Good morning to you all, the members of the National Executive Committee represented here, our delegates from the international chapters, members of the Elections Committee and the Election Directorate, leadership of the Professional Forum of NDC, and members of the media, and my colleagues, members of the security services, also represented here. You know, once a general, always a general. Having listened to such brilliant presentation by the General Secretary, I don't have anything more to add, but to extend my deepest appreciation and thanks to the Inspector General of Police and the Ghana Police Service for a wonderful job done. On this occasion, they have proven that when they are challenged, they deliver. When we were embarking on this journey, we had meetings with the IGP and his team. And we told them that as a party, many people have expressed worries about the way the police perform their duties and so on. But as a party, we want to put them to test. We did that during the National Congress. They discharged their responsibilities very creditably. So we had no doubt at all when we challenged them this time around that we are going to give strict instructions that these elections will be vigilante-free, and we want it to be violent-free. So we told the IGP to instruct his men that they are in charge of the security of these elections. In the police, there are no women. They are all men. In the security services, they are men. I lie. We challenged them and said that they know us. If they don't deliver, we will nail them. But I'm happy to note that we have not, throughout the elections, we have not heard about any security breaches of any significance. I went around 5 regions. I visited selected districts in 5 regions. I can talk about the situation in Boron where I started. I proceeded to Boron East because everybody was scared that when you talk about Boron East and our capital, Techiman, it connotes not precisely peaceful environment. But I went there and I was pleasantly surprised by the scale of deployment and the professional work that was on display. I followed to Techiman North, went to Wenchi, Tang, proceeded to Doma, and then to Ahafo, and then to Western North, before I ended in Ashanti region. And I can report that there was nowhere, absolutely nowhere, where I found the work of the Ghana Police Service wanting. So, colleagues, we want to thank you very much. We will have occasion to thank the IGP, and I believe that from here, the cooperation can even grow better. And we can rely on your professionalism, hopefully, when we approach our next elections. I also want to congratulate all the aspirants, both parliamentary and presidential. In fact, these presidential primaries has been one of the keenest in terms of movement and activity and campaigning. And from where I stand, I can attest to the fact that it has delivered dividends to the party. If we had had a sole candidate, I don't think that anybody will spend time going around all the branches and constituencies of this party to speak to them. These elections have demonstrated the supremacy of the foot soldier of the party. And so I want to thank the aspirant very well. I want to thank the foot soldiers. One notable thing that we found has also been that money does not decide who gets the votes in NDC anymore. So we heard stories about big men, potentially rich men, who could win elections. they all could not win, in spite of their wealth and riches and the stories we heard about what they were threatening to distribute. But we are happy that so far the quality of candidates that have been produced in this election give us confidence that we'll go into 2024 and win presidential and win a significant majority in parliament, and also deliver on the charge of rescuing this country. We are not going to say we have the men. We want the men to prove themselves. For you to say that, yes, NDC, you have the men. And so the night has been long. I don't want to keep you waiting. But I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to thank the media. At times, you appear like pestering our lives. But when you are not present, we feel your need more. So wherever we went throughout this monitoring, the media were fully represented, carrying our stories live. And even this evening when I was being interviewed, I didn't know that it was going live. But that is the wonderful nature of your work. We can't thank you any more than to say God bless all of you. And we hope to count on you on our difficult path of marching towards victory 2024 and to rescue Ghana. Let me congratulate finally the winner of the presidential primaries, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. In a few moments from here, he will be taking over from me as the leader of the National Democratic Congress. I believe that the party has enjoyed my brief stint as the leader of this party. And I have no doubt at all in my mind that the work of the leader of the party will still be on my shoulders whilst President Mahama becomes the nominal leader. And when I'm called upon to discharge that responsibility, I will not fail you. I will continue to deliver decisive leadership. Thank you very much, and may God bless our homeland.
All right, thank you very much. It's morning and we'll not keep you any longer. May the streets of Accra be safe to all of us. God bless you.